Presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Back home in Arizona, that lengthy road trip through the NL West is behind us now. The D-backs open up an extended homestand within the division, beginning with 3 games this weekend against the Dodgers. We are open for business in downtown Phoenix for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. Very glad to be back home here at Chase Field. First of 3 tonight against these LA Dodgers. Taijuan Walker gets the baseball for the D-backs against lefty Alex Wood. And Bob, Taijuan just beat these Dodgers Sunday in LA.
Yeah, went 5 strong innings, gave up only 4 hits and 1 run against the Dodgers. Probably could have pitched much deeper into the ball game. Started having some tightness in his lower back. Bullpen came in. Archie Bradley 2 2/3 of shutout baseball. Jorge De La Rosa, Fernando Rodney closed it out, but probably Taijuan Walker's best start so far this season against the Dodgers last time out.
Well, it was a great start for the D-backs offense at home on the initial homestand. The offense dried up a bit on this long road trip, and as always, we look to Goldie to get this thing started.
Yeah, Goldie is the spearhead of this offense and had a real rough road trip, 5 for 33. He did walk 9 times, but he struck out 10 times, only 1 extra base hit and 1 RBI on the road trip. We've seen Goldie go through these spells before, and we know he'll come out the other side banging the ball all over the ballpark.
Well, hopefully it starts tonight. It's the D-backs and the Dodgers, the first of 3. First pitch is coming your way next on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos, Lone Butte, Bequiva, and Wild Horse Pass. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Oregano's. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint. Location statewide. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. By Gigablast Internet from Cox. Welcome to the gig life. And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM. Back home on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix, and big Taijuan Walker, who just beat the Dodgers Sunday in LA, is set for the return bout here at Chase Field. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. April in Arizona, 90 degrees with the roof open, a gorgeous night in downtown Phoenix. We're at Chase Field, where the Diamondbacks went 6-1 on their opening homestand to start the year, matching the best home start in team history. And now, big Taijuan Walker takes the mound against Dave Roberts' LA Dodgers, who come in here 8-8 to start the year. This is their lineup tonight. A little different look at the top. Jock Peterson leading it off. He'll be out in center field with Corey Seager at shortstop. Justin Turner at third base. Adrian Gonzalez down at first. Yasiel Puig in right field. Yasmani Grandal doing the catching. Andrew Tolles playing left field. The veteran Chase Utley at second base, and left-hander Alex Wood on the mound. Your Ram truck starter for the Diamondbacks is the big right-hander. He's Taijuan Walker. A win over these Dodgers in his previous start. That was Sunday in Los Angeles. He gave up just 1 run on 4 hits, went 5 innings, and had 7 strikeouts. And if the fans were with us in that ball game, they may remember that Taijuan Walker got a lot of swings and misses, got a lot of foul balls, and a lot of check swings on high four-seam fastballs up above the top of the zone. See if he sticks with that program here tonight. Let's check the Diamondbacks defensively. Our eye on defense brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers. Yasmani Tomas patrolling left field tonight. A.J. Pollock out in center. David Peralta in the lineup against the left-hander. He'll be out in right field. Jake Lamb and Chris Owings will man the left side of the infield, with Brandon Drury and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Jeff Mathis getting the duty behind the plate tonight for right-hander Taijuan Walker. And behind the plate for the umpires is Mike McClinsky. He'll have the balls and strikes. Marty Foster, the first base umpire. Mike Winters, the crew chief, is at second. And Mark Wagner's at third. LA comes in to open up a 7-game road trip. They were off yesterday. They got in last night. 3 at Chase Field. Then it's on to San Francisco for a 4-game set at the Giants. And Jock Peterson will lead it off. 205 with a home run. 25 years old today. It's Jock Peterson's birthday. Did you get him anything?
It's in the mail.
Well, here's a shift to welcome Jock Peterson into the leadoff spot. Taijuan going with the high teal socks, and there's strike one. We're underway. Kind of makes him look even taller.
If that's possible. He is a large human. That number 99 makes him look bigger. Those socks make him look taller.
Well, he's quickly ahead of Peterson, 0-2. Taijuan Walker, 24 years old, 6'4", 235. Looking for his third win this year. Peterson knocks it up the middle of base hit.
We talked about Jock Peterson in the past in the leadoff spot tonight. In the minor leagues, he was a big-time stolen base threat. A couple seasons, over 30 steals. At the major league level, hasn't really seen that kind of a running game from Jock Peterson.
Corey Seager now. Peterson does not have a stolen base attempt this year. Here's another first pitch breaking ball or off speed pitch from Taijuan Walker. He's been doing that a lot more lately, especially this season.
I think there's a method to his madness. He's a guy that relies so heavily on that elevated four-seam fastball. I think he wants to establish that breaking ball early in the count. He can steal some first pitch strikes if he can throw that breaking ball in the zone. Because just about every hitter against Taijuan Walker goes to the plate looking fastball.
Yeah, he's thrown that type of pitch 57% of the time on the first pitch of at bats this year. League average is about 36%. He's fallen behind a good hitter in Seager, 2-0. Corey Seager hitting .279. He's got 2 home runs. Tied with Yasiel Puig for the Dodgers lead in RBIs. He's knocked in 11. Fly ball center field. A.J. Pollock looking up, and that ball is gone. Corey Seager, a 2-run homer, is third, and it's 2-0 Dodgers.
I got to admit to you, partner, I was watching Jock Peterson run between first and second. He just kept on going around second. I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a double play. AJ's going to make the catch. They're going to double Peterson off first base, and then the ball just sailed on out of here. Great carry that time.
Roof is open. The outfield panels are closed. There's strike one to Justin Turner. So Taijuan down 2-0, still looking for his first out. Turner has not played since Tuesday. He was hit on the left hand by a fastball from Colorado's Kyle Freeland. Nothing was broken, but it's been pretty sore. He's batting .360 on the year.
Hand and wrist injuries, we talk about them all the time. Many times they're not serious enough to keep a guy out of the lineup, but they're bad enough to keep you from taking good swings.
It's a fly ball out to David Peralta in right field, and there's the first out in the game. Yeah, Turner sat out Wednesday's game against Colorado. Dodgers had an off day yesterday. That'll bring up Adrian Gonzalez.
Number 23, Adrian Gonzalez.
Gonzalez hitting .269. He's yet to homer. In fact, he has only 2 extra base hits all year. Drury at second base, backs out into short right field. Owings back on the grass at shortstop. Foul tip, and Mathis hangs on. It's 0-1. Gonzalez has hit safely in 4 straight games. Really wasn't a factor in the Diamondbacks series at Dodger Stadium last weekend. He was 2 for 13 with a couple of singles. Check swing foul, and it's 0-2.
Like 5 RBI in his first 16 games. Of course, some of that has to do with the guys hitting in front of him. Corey Seager and Justin Turner picking up a lot of the RBIs, and not much left for Adrian Gonzalez when he gets to the plate.
Well, Gonzalez is 34. He'll turn 35 on May the 8th. And he suffered a big power outage last year. The power production was down. He's still got 2 years left on his contract. He'll make $21.5 million each of the next 2 years. Had only 7 home runs at the All-Star break last year. Taiwan strikes him out, 2 down.
It's a Walker changeup just kind of fading away off that outside corner. I don't know if it was ever in the strike zone, but tempting enough for Gonzalez to take a hack at it for strike 3.
Some boos for Yasiel Puig, who leads the Dodgers with 4 home runs and second in RBIs with 11. He's now 2 behind Seager. Off to a very good start, Yasiel Puig. He had a productive series against the Diamondbacks on the last road trip. 5 hits, 6 RBIs in that series. He doubled, he homered, he also walked 3 times. A much more patient hitter so far this year. 1-1. There's the Walker fastball.
Yeah, we saw both sides of Puig in that series in LA. We saw him take some walks, very disciplined, ran the bases hard, played good defense in right field for a couple days, and then kind of lost interest.
Jake Lamb at third, steps up and fires a perfect strike to Goldie. But the Dodgers strike first on Corey Seager's 2-run homer. Diamondbacks coming up against Alex Wood. Starter for the Dodgers, left-hander Alex Wood, who did not win a starting job coming out of spring training in Glendale, but he's moved into the rotation because of some injuries. We just saw Wood come on in relief of the injured Rich Hill over the weekend against the D-backs in LA, and in that game Wood pitched 3 1/3 innings of no-hit relief and got the win.
Yeah, looked really good doing it as well. Heavy sinking fastball, big curveball, an occasional changeup from Alex Wood. Has a lot of herky-jerky movement in his delivery. Very tough to time him up.
Well, time for this D-backs offense, which did so well on the opening homestand and kind of went to sleep on the road trip to wake up again. AJ will get it started, 284 with a home run. He starts this homestand with a 4-game hitting streak.
Now, granted, the Diamondbacks did face some pretty good pitching on that road trip, and all 3 games in pitchers' ballparks. So hopefully they'll bust out here in familiar surroundings.
And some cold, wet, damp weather in San Francisco. Always tough to score at Dodger Stadium. And Petco Park is certainly no hitter's park. A.J. sends one deep right center field. Peterson and Puig are out there, and there it goes! A.J. Pollock, number 2, and the Diamondbacks are on the board. Well, that didn't take long.
Not at all.
I believe that's a jumbo jack, is it not?
Indeed it is. Boy, A.J. Pollock going oppo right there. Got a sinker that didn't sink, up and out over the plate, barreled it up to right center field. Puig looked like he had a beat on it initially, but that ball just kept carrying, much like Corey Seager's did, and easily got out of here.
That's a jumbo jack.
Yeah.
A free jumbo jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink from our friends at Jack in the Box.
Yeah, like the burger flying over the yellow stripe. That's next level right there.
Attending art school classes apparently during your downtime. Here's Chris Owings. CO first pitch swinging, jam shot, pop up, foul ground for Gonzalez, and that's the first out in the home half of the first. Let's take a look at the Dodgers defensively. It's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
And Dave Roberts has an outfield of Toles, Peterson, and Puig left to right. The infield will be Turner and Seager on the left side. Utley and Gonzalez. A lot of experience on that right side. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate, and lefty Alex Wood on the mound.
That was the first career leadoff home run for A.J. Pollock.
Really? How about that?
Yeah, a little surprising. So here's Goldie. He jumps on the first one, drives it to Puig in right, and Yasiel Puig makes a nice running grab in right center field. The wild horse.
He needed every bit of that long outfielder's glove that time. Puig covered a lot of ground to get to that gap in right center and take extra bases away from Goldie.
Well, that's 2 very well hit balls by Diamondback batters so far against Alex Wood as Jake Lamb steps in. Well, Wood's given up the home run, but he's also got 2 outs on 5 pitches now. Jake 303 home runs. Dodgers have the shift on against him. Justin Turner, the third baseman, out there in right field. There's strike 1. Jake has started 16 games this year. He's hit safely in 14 of them, including the last 4 in a row. Alex Wood has been very tough on left-hand hitters lately. Wood has not allowed a hit to any of the last 26 lefties he's faced. That dates back to last September, which is the longest active such streak in the major leagues. Jake Lamb is in there batting 4th. David Peralta, another left-hand hitter, bats 7th tonight. Yasmani Grandal, that's about a half dozen times I've seen him do that this year. He always appeals to the wrong umpire. He'll do it almost every time. Now he's a switch hitter, so I wonder if somehow in his mind he gets confused, but he always will go to the wrong umpire on the check swing appeal. Holds onto the foul tip that time. Wood gets the strikeout, but A.J. Pollock gets his 2nd home run of the year, his first career leadoff homer. And after 1, D-backs trail it 2-1. Padres are in town starting Monday for a 4-game series. Get to the game with a value pack that includes a game ticket, a Subway sandwich, or a hot dog, and a Pepsi for only $25. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value. A long homestand coming up here at Chase Field. The switch hitting catcher Yasmani Grandal, 244 and 2 home runs. Grandal had 4 hits, all singles, in last week's D-backs series at Dodger Stadium. He also walked 3 times. And he's ahead 2-0. Taijuan Walker, a single to Jock Peterson, a home run by Corey Seager to lead off the ballgame. Retired the next 3 he faced. There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Andrew Tolles on deck, the left fielder tonight. Dodgers are without their second baseman Logan Forsythe. He's got a broken toe, hit by a pitch from the Rockies' Kyle Freeland this week. So Chase Utley gets the start at second base. He's batting 8th. Strike 3 called. Second strikeout for Taijuan Walker, who was behind on Grandal, 3-0, and came back to get the strikeout.
Well, a reverse Goldie right there. Got himself back in the sequence. Good change up right on the inside corner at the knees. Perhaps not the location Walker was looking for, but in the strike zone, and gets the punch out.
Andrew Tolles, 237. He's homered 3 times. That's pulled foul right behind the first base coach, George Lombard, down there. One of Tolles' home runs came against Randall Delgado at Dodger Stadium last weekend. Fastball up, missed, and it's 1-1. Dave Roberts impressed with what he saw from Taijuan Walker on Sunday in Los Angeles. Robert thought his Dodgers hitters did get a little out of the zone sometimes, and Taijuan was pitching at the top of the zone very effectively, mixing in sliders when he needed to. Ground ball to Brandon Drury. That's 5 in a row. Set down since the Seager home run. Of course, it was discovered after his win Sunday in LA that Taijuan had been pitching with some lower back tightness. That was the result of a swing during an at-bat in his previous outing in San Francisco. But he was able to turn in a very solid start at Dodger Stadium. And as Chris Iannetta said, he was not 100%, but came up with a really gutsy performance.
He really did, and it's kind of funny. Usually pitchers work on stuff in the bullpen between starts in their side session. Taijuan Walker worked on not swinging so hard in batting practice.
He really did take it easy. Chase Utley off to a 1 for 20 start to the year. Well, Taijuan said, look, it's my job to get out there and pitch, so I'm going to have to learn to contain myself as a hitter and take it easy. He wants to be healthy and make his 30-plus starts. And of course, that's good news for Diamondback fans. You'll recall Zach Greinke injured an oblique on a swing at the plate last year and missed 6 weeks. Behind on Utley, 2-1. Utley's 1 hit was a single in the first series of the season. That was against the Padres at Dodger Stadium back on April 6th. He's not had a base hit since. Alex Wood, the pitcher, on deck. Be nice to get Utley here and have Wood lead off the third. Taijuan really mixing it up the first time through the order here.
And we talked about what Taijuan Walker did against these Dodgers in his last start at Dodger Stadium, and they're well aware of it. They look at the numbers, they look at the videotape, they remember his last start against them.
Lined on a short hop right to Brandon Drury. A 1-2-3 second for Taijuan Walker, who set down 6 in a row.
Diamondbacks 2-1 as we head to the bottom half of the second inning. Time to take a quick look at our Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game, feed me.
What can we get you?
Well, we've already got a jumbo jack tonight, which is a really good thing. But 5 of the 7 home games to start the season, we got tacos too. On the road, only one time were we able to get the tacos, and now that we're home,
you were able to drop a few pounds on the last road trip.
Hungry, feed me.
I believe that young lady had her forehead autographed by Baxter.
It looked like it, yeah.
He was making his rounds before the ball game. Yasmani Tomas will lead off the second against Alex Wood. 283 and 2 homers for Big Yasmani, who homered twice on the last road trip. Once in San Francisco and once in San Diego. Tomas batting 5th tonight against Alex Wood. Last season, Yasmani hit .364 versus left-hand pitching. One of the best numbers in the league. Here's a roller to third for Turner. That's 4 in a row set down by Wood since the Pollock leadoff homer.
Now 2 fly ball outs with a strikeout in that first inning. The first ground ball of the game for Alex Wood. When he's on top of his game, you'll see a lot of ground balls, keeping that 2-seam sinker down there around the knees. Has a lot of downward movement on his curveball. His changeup also moves down. So when he's good and pitching at the bottom of the zone, he gets a lot of grounders.
Brandon Drury batting .273. That intensity meter that runs around inside Brandon Drury is pretty much ready to burst at this point. 5 for 36. After he hit safely in the first 5 games of the year. It's been a little slow going from Brandon last 10 days or so. And he's ready to jump out like a coiled spring. Got off to a great start. Had a monster spring training, Brandon Drury. Hit everything this spring. And then hit safely in his first 5 games. 3 of those were multi-hit games. But since then he's hit under 140 in his last 10. Another one to third. The backhand stop for Turner. Long throw. 2 down. Coors Light cold hard facts as David Peralta steps up against the lefty Alex Wood. The comforts of home. Diamondbacks are #1 after that impressive homestand to start the year.
Yeah, they were really firing on all cylinders starting the season here at Chase Field. Everybody in the lineup was contributing. Guys getting multi-hits, taking their walks. It was an offensive outburst.
David .237. He's homered twice. Alex Wood really wants to start for the Dodgers. He was not thrilled about being assigned to the bullpen when they left spring training in Glendale. But he's got a chance to fill in for Dave Roberts at the moment. Rich Hill is out with that blister problem, but Hill doesn't figure to be gone all that long, and eventually youngster Julio Urias is going to get his innings countdown clock started and join the Dodgers, maybe even as soon as next week. Away from the shift and into left field, a base hit for the freight train. 2-out single in the second.
Well, you do have to say it's pretty smart on the part of the Dodgers to have Alex Wood available out of the bullpen, knowing that Rich Hill historically has had a lot of blister issues, and sure enough he finds himself on the DL and Alex Wood getting the start.
Yeah. Pitching depth, you're going to need more than 5 over the course of the year, that's for sure. The catcher Jeff Mathis, 156 on the year. Good to see David get that base hit against the lefty. Mathis had that 3-hit game here opening day against the Giants at Chase Field, but since then he's gone 2 for 28 at the plate. But I believe, according to some of the work your staff was doing, he's got a pretty decent track record against Alex Wood.
I think he's 4 for 10 lifetime against the Dodger left-hander, and you always look for a little edge, and maybe facing a guy that he's had success against in the past will get him jump started.
Looking for his first 2-strike hit this year. Check on Peralta at first. Roof is open, panels are closed in the outfield on a gorgeous Friday night in downtown Phoenix. Good to be back home at Chase Field. We open up a long 10-game homestand. dbacks.com/tickets. As Mathis strikes out, second strikeout for Alex Wood, who strands the 2-out single. D-backs trail the Dodgers 2-1. Arizona Mike before the game today.
I'm the guinea pig. Everyone's gonna be afraid to talk to me now.
That's why I'm walking away.
That's why I'm following you. I'm in power shag mode anyway. I'm in no mood to talk to anybody. Oh, I got this, yo. You got that one? That's cool. How is the route efficiency though?
Don Wilhelmsen all about the analytics. Yeah, when guys find out you're wearing one of those things, it's like you got the plague.
Oh
suddenly.
yeah, nobody wants to be near you. You heard him mention the term power shagging.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the pitchers doing their running in the outfield, and rather than just the monotonous foul pole to foul pole along the warning track, how some teams use a frisbee or a football to get the pitchers running in. Power shagging is another way to get you running in. You chase every ball that's hit in batting practice, regardless of where it's hit. If it's hit down the right field line, you run over to the right field line. Even if somebody else picks up the ball, go to where the ball was hit. The next pitch is thrown, wherever that ball is hit, you run to that spot. That's a good way to get you running in, at the same time help out batting practice.
Well, here's the pitcher Alex Wood, down 0-2 against Taijuan Walker as we start the third. I remember a few years ago, that's how Mariano Rivera injured himself for the Yankees in Kansas City when he was out there power shagging, and there was that shot of Mariano just laying on the warning track in center field. Suffered a serious injury. Taijuan has retired 6 in a row since the Seager homer in the first. That made it 2-0 LA, 2 batters in. Diamondbacks got their run in the home half of the first. A.J. Pollock's first career leadoff homer. And that's how we got to 2-1 here as we start the third. There's strike 3, third strikeout for Taijuan Walker.
Hey fans, the day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Go back to your key to the game. Feed me. Well, Jock Peterson in the leadoff spot tonight, which is a bit of a throwback for him. He singled and came home on the Seager homer. Here's the defensive alignment against him. Drury behind the second base bag. Owens the shortstop out in the outfield. Lamb will come in on the grass at third, just about a step or two.
Yeah, for Peterson, it's the first game he's hit leadoff this year.
Well, he has started for his career 70 games batting first in the order. A career .222 hitter in the leadoff spot, but he only started 1 game batting leadoff last season. But they don't have a leadoff hitter per se. Logan Forsythe, who they thought would be their leadoff man, is on the DL right now with a toe injury or a foot injury. And so Peterson is the man. We've seen Andrew Toles in that spot earlier this year.
And Kike Hernandez 1 start in the leadoff spot as well.
Hernandez usually only plays against lefties, so Peterson was the man by default, and he's ahead 2-1. Peterson did not have a real productive series in the 4 games against the Diamondbacks last week, and he went 1 for 10 with a double and struck out 5 times. Seager, who homered, is on deck. That's a fair ball. Goldie with a terrific stop. Walker to the bag. 2 outs. Boy, he makes those look so easy.
Shortstop, Corey Seager.
Taijuan Walker new to the Diamondbacks this year, new to the starting rotation. He will learn quickly that Goldie's going to make the play on just about everything on that right side, so you better get over there and cover the bag.
Now the idea here, when the pitcher has to sprint over there, is to just kind of give him a moment to catch his breath, right?
Yeah, we've seen the Diamondbacks do that repeatedly throughout the early going this season. Usually it's somebody on the left side of the infield, the shortstop Chris Owings or the third baseman Jake Lamb, that comes in and acts like they're cleaning their cleats on that little mat on the back of the mound. Just to give him a second or two to catch his breath.
This was Seager in the second inning. 105 miles an hour off the bat and 422 feet. Onto the home run porch out there. There's a tapper over the head of Walker. Drury charges, barehand throw, and he makes it. A nice play by Brandon Drury at second base, and since the Seager homer, Taijuan Walker has set down 9 straight Dodgers. D-backs trail it 2-1.
Head to the bottom of the third. Well, after opening the season with a 7-game homestand on the heels of 2 months of spring training here in Arizona, the players told me they were eager for that first road trip and the bonding that comes with it. They said it was great to have that off day in there so they could hang out with teammates away from the field, and they squeezed in a lot of team dinners. As for Torrey, he said he learned a lot about his guys on this first road trip, and what really stood out for him was a way that they were able to come back and win those 2 games in LA after dropping the first 2. He said he was very impressed how they came together to get the job done.
2 big wins, especially that game on Monday at Dodger Stadium. After a trip that started 1-4, suddenly it was looking a lot better. San Diego wound up as a bit of a disappointment as the offense dried up a bit, but overall first road trip of the year. Tough 10 games in the division, 4-6. He'll take it and move on here, back home for 10 games. Taijuan Walker strikes out looking. 3rd strikeout for Alex Wood.
Center fielder.
Here's A.J. Pollock. Our Cox high-speed highlights. 100 miles an hour off the bat. 397 into the pool area. His first career leadoff homer. That got the Diamondbacks right back in it after Seager's home run had made it 2-0. Second time through the order now against Alex Wood, who has always thrown with this goofy delivery. It's very unique. He's thrown this way his whole life, he says, and you know, from a mechanical standpoint, it might not look great, but he was always pretty sound with it, pretty consistent. And that's why he says, you know, all through high school and at college at Georgia, nobody ever really messed with him because he got results, and for the most part, he stayed healthy.
That's the bottom line. They don't care if you stand on your head and kick it toward home plate. If you can do it in the strike zone and get hitters out, keep it up.
You saw a shot of Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, in there. Wood has always compared it to hitting. He said, look, you see guys do tons of crazy different things in the batter's box, but as long as they hit, they're fine. And why shouldn't it be the same with me when I'm pitching? There's Rick Honeycutt. I guess if you have a goofy swing hitting, theoretically, you're not going to injure yourself, but you might if you have a weird pitching motion.
If you put undue stress and strain on that throwing arm or your lower back or your legs or anything, but apparently Alex Wood very comfortable with this herky-jerky delivery.
Well, he has had some injury problems before. Pollock lines it right at second base umpire Mike Winters, and it's in the gap. AJ digs for second, and he's in there. He's 2 for 2. A double and a home run for A.J. Pollock. That's his 5th double this year.
The exit velocity on this double might have been higher than the home run. That ball was smoked into the gap in left center field, right at the second base umpire Mike Winters. And Andrew Tolles makes a nice play to get there, but with A.J. speed, that's an easy double.
All right, well, he's the tying run. 1 out for Chris Owings now. CO popped up his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Fastball missed inside. It's 1-0. Talked about that road trip and how it didn't end very well in San Diego the last 2 games. Torey Lovullo does not get discouraged with his group, especially all the young hitters. Says the guys the D-backs have in this lineup, the guys they have, they're out there grinding every single day. They are really good hitters. And occasionally everybody runs into some good pitching, like the Padres got the last 2 nights from Chacin and Richard.
I think one thing we were very encouraged by in that first homestand that we were a little discouraged with on the road trip was the aggressiveness. Seemed like in that first homestand, guys, if they got a strike to hit, they put a good swing on it and hit it hard. They rarely chase pitches out of the zone. On the road trip, we saw guys start to chase those breaking balls off the outside corner, chase some high fastballs, some change-ups in the dirt. They weren't quite as patient waiting for their pitch to hit.
This will tie the ball game. Tolles over to cut it off. An RBI double for Chris Owings, and it's 2-2.
That's what we've seen throughout spring training in the early going this year. When this lineup gets good pitches to hit, they can do some damage. Chris Owings, it's a cement mixer slider up in the zone, just didn't do anything and rips it past Justin Turner down into the corner. AJ can walk home from second base, tying the game.
Fourth double of the year for CO. Back-to-back one-out doubles have made it a 2-2 ball game, and now Chris is at second base, still just one out. And here's Paul Goldschmidt. Goldie hit a rocket to the gap in right center on the first pitch of the first at bat against Wood. And Yasiel Puig made a very nice running catch to take extra bases away. Here's ball one.
On that road trip, Goldie looked a little bit passive at times, took some hittable strikes, swung at some pitchers' pitches, but he looks very aggressive today. Swung at the first pitch, as you mentioned, in his first at bat, hit the ball hard. He was ready to take a rip at that first pitch.
Here's a big cut, 1-1. Well, Goldie started all 10 games on the last road trip. As we mentioned at the top of the show, hit just 152, had only 1 RBI in the 10 games. And his lone extra base hit on that trip was a double in last night's loss at San Diego. Utley sneaking in from second. Goldie fouls it off, and it's 1-2. Goldie was saying after last night, look, overall guys are having pretty good at bats, so all there really is to do is just keep going. No big adjustments necessary. Try and have good at bats and hit the ball hard. They've certainly been hitting the ball hard tonight.
Tony Paraschico well down that line at third base. You can see the coach's box over there on the left of your screen. That's a pretty standard operating procedure for a third base coach with a runner at second. Get as far down that line as you can. Give yourself as much time as possible to read that ball hit into the outfield and determine whether you want to send CO or hold him at third base.
Tony's an infield coach by trade, and he gets right down in there in that infielder's position as soon as the pitch is about to be thrown. It's like he's playing shortstop or something, waiting for a ground ball. He gets down in that crouch, hands on his knees, locked in on his base runner.
Eyeballing that second baseman to make sure Utley doesn't try to sneak in on CO.
Goldie slaps it to 3-2, and it's fouled. Jake Lamb on deck. He struck out his first time up. Owings takes off for third. Goldie taps it to second. Utley's there. And that's the second out as Owings moves up 90 feet.
Early in the at bat, Chase Utley was over there jockeying Chris Owings back to the bag. But with 2 strikes, Utley and Corey Seager were split wide apart in the middle of the infield. CO thought he could get a jump and steal third. And unfortunately, Goldie grounds out to the right side, but CO now at third base.
With 2 outs, and the batter is Jake Lamb. Well, the Diamondbacks finally ended Alex Wood's streak of facing left-hand hitters. He struck out Lamb to end the first, and that made it 27 consecutive lefties he had faced without giving up a base hit. And then Peralta got up there and had a 2-out single in the second. It's a work of art down there. 0-2 on Jake. I see your staff was busy during the break making some of your new signs.
Yeah.
Jumbo Jack sign. Is there a new taco sign maybe?
Well, we'll see.
Oh, all right. Have to get 5 runs first. Fastball missed upstairs, and it's 1-2 on Jake Lamb. Not really a shift against Lamb, more of a shade. Seager, the shortstop, almost behind the second base bag. You see Utley back in the outfield grass at second. Turner well back of the bag at third. Jake lifts it in the air, deep left field. Andrew Tolles at the wall, and he's got it. But the Diamondbacks come back to get the equalizer on back-to-back one-out doubles. First, A.J. Pollock, his second base hit tonight. And then Chris Owings drives him home. Through 3, it's 2-2.
Game. Let's take a look back at this day in Major League Baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Of course, we're going to feature a catcher today.
Oh boy, hard to believe.
Former Indians catcher Frank Hayes on this day played the last of 312 consecutive games behind the plate. Played the last game of the 1943 season and didn't miss a game until tomorrow in 1946.
Wow, through some of the war years there. Those catchers, they're a durable lot.
Yes, indeed.
Justin Turner leads off the 4th. He flied out his first time up. Here's a drive, deep right center field, headed toward the pool. That's off the top of the wall. Justin Turner now leading the National League with 9 doubles. That ends a stretch of 9 straight, retired by Taijuan Walker. Just missed a home run.
Well, I guess that hand is okay where he got hit by a pitch. Big breaking ball from Taijuan Walker right on the outside corner, and Turner stays on it to his credit and drives it out there to the gap.
Well, the ball is jumping here tonight. Roof is open. The outfield panels are closed. Dodgers have 3 hits, a homer and a double. Diamondbacks have 4 hits, a homer and 2 doubles.
And we'll be working with a 3-man umpiring crew. Mike Winters, the second base umpire and crew chief, just kind of ran off the field and signaled to Mike McClinsky behind home plate. Go ahead.
I'll be right back. Maybe.
Carry on.
Gonzalez struck out his first time up. Probably ate too much cotton candy before the game and needs a moment. Good thing she's not eating it with those braces, I can tell you that. Gonzalez Fooled on a fastball, and it's 1-1. Oh, can we get some napkins down there? Or some wet naps? Something.
Garden hose.
Goldie at first. Backhand stop. Turner moves into third, and that's the first out. Gonzalez 0 for 2. That brings up Yasiel Puig. Big ovation for Puig.
He always gets a reaction. Dodger fans love him. D-backs fans not so much.
He grounded out his first time up. Shortstop Bowie's coming home. Throw a little offline, and they got him at home. Nice play there by Jeff Mathis. CO brought it home. The throw was just a little bit toward the first base side, but Mathis able to apply the tag and get the second out.
The Diamondbacks not playing all the way in on the left side. Chris Owings was just a little bit in front of double play depth, because that's usually where Puig hits the ball hard to the left side of the field. His throw, as you mentioned, to the first base side, but Jeff Mathis able to get out there, pick it out of the dirt, and apply the tag in plenty of time to get Justin Turner at the plate.
A 6-2 put out at home. Puig at first on a fielder's choice with 2 outs, and the batter is the catcher, Yasmani Grandal.
And watch Jeff Mathis catch the ball in the glove and then hold the ball in his bare hand tightly. If you just stick the glove back there, Turner's going to do everything he can to try to dislodge it. So make sure you have a really good grip with your right hand and just kind of use the glove to protect the ball.
Well, the Diamondbacks infield defense has been frankly a little shaky lately, but nice to see them able to cut down Turner at the plate and keep it a 2-2 ball game. Well executed. Look out, that one got away from Taiwan. And again, he's staying away from that fastball on the first pitch of the at-bat. He's doing that an awful lot.
We've seen a lot of first pitch breaking balls. That was a first pitch split changeup that time that just kind of took off on him. We were talking about Walker's outing against the Dodgers a couple of innings ago, and they know how he pitched to them. He threw that four-seam fastball across the top of the zone all night long, and then some change-ups in the dirt. His slider was really good, but the fastball up was his go-to pitch all night long at Dodger Stadium. They're well aware of that.
You can see him trying to give them a different look tonight, that's for sure. And as a result, he's falling behind in some counts. Again, he stays away from the fastball. The splitter misses, and it's 3-0. Toles on deck. There's Jerry Nair, the bench coach, filling in for Gardy.
I think back to watching all those great Cardinal pitching staffs under Dave Duncan, and it seemed like you'd watch Adam Wainwright or Carpenter or any of their starting pitchers. Rarely did they come back the next start and pitch similarly. If they were throwing a lot of fastballs against the team, the next time out they'd be throwing a lot of breaking balls or changeups. They never really stayed with any kind of a consistent pattern, which made it really tough when you looked at the videotape. Oh man, he's just pounding the strike zone with fastballs against the Cubs. But then when you face him, all of a sudden he's throwing first pitch sliders, he's throwing changeups and fastball counts. But then the following time, maybe he switches it around again.
Like, he didn't throw a fastball there to Grandal and walked him. So if you're not throwing those breaking pitches or off-speed pitches for strikes, eventually you're going to get yourself in trouble like he's done here now. 2 on and 2 out for Toles, who grounded out his first at bat. Puig at second and Grandal at first. Now he goes back to the first pitch fastball and gets a strike.
Well, he's really struggled with his command of the breaking pitch tonight. Only 1 in the strike zone out of 7.
And there's no getting away from the fact that since the start of last year, nearly 80% of Taiwan's strikeouts have come with his fastball. Went back to it that time, but missed upstairs, and it's 1-1. Went to the cutter that time, and it's 1-2.
It's back to that age-old question. Do you change if you've had success against a team in the past? Do you change your attack? It's worked in the past. Should you just stick with it, or should you make the adjustment before they do?
Well, look at this case. He went back to the fastball against Tolles and quickly got ahead in the count, of ball and 2 strikes. Stayed away from the fastball against Grandal and walked him. Long sequence of signs here from Mathis with Puig at second, and they'll have to run through them again.
And the middle infielders will also assemble on the mound. They want to know what's going on. What are we going to do here? We're going to change the signs. We're going to keep them the same. What pitch do you want to throw? See if Mathis even gives a sign here. Many times when you've got the middle infielders out there with the pitcher, the catcher will just say, hey, let's throw a changeup on the next pitch and then follow that with a fastball and not even give a sign.
Oh, let's take a look.
Bring it on in here.
Serve it up. Went to the fastball, and Tolles just able to get a piece.
Pretty tough to steal signs when you don't give any.
Once we get your headsets in place, we won't have to worry about it. Utley on deck. Works for quarterbacks. Why not catchers? Breaking ball missed. That might be the cutter. 2-2. 60 pitches for Taiwan, only 34 for strikes, so he's not been terribly efficient, even though he's only walked 1.
Big pitch in the game right here. Do not want to go to 3-2. Right in on his knuckles. Good fastball at 95.
That thing came to eat. Good to be back home at Chase Field, a long 10-game homestand, fans. dbacks.com/tickets. 3 against the Dodgers, 4 against the Padres, and 3 against the Rockies. Boy, Tolles is really putting up a fight. This is kind of what he does. He can really be a pain in the neck, Andrew Tolles. He's a good young hitter. Getting a lot of playing time while Andre Ethier is out with that herniated disc. Another 2-2 from Taijuan Walker. Got him. Went to the curveball, and he gets the strikeout to strand 2. Bottom 4 coming up from Chase Field. It's a 2-2 ball game. for sound before the game tonight.
I bet if it was a cheeseburger, you'd catch it. Oh, man. I mean, well, that's glove side. That's yours. No, that didn't count. I didn't know we started, okay? Oh, that's why I'm not an outfielder or an infielder. Well, that and I don't want to hit.
The bartender, Tom Wilhelmsen, wired for sound. Out there shagging flies before the game today. Our thanks to Tom for helping us out with that.
That's another game that the pitchers play during batting practice just to make it interesting. If you catch a fly ball, it's worth 100 points. If you catch a ball on one hop, it's worth 50 points. And, you know, more than one hop, it doesn't count for anything.
Manny Tomas swings at the first pitch against Alex Wood and grounds out to open up the home half of the fourth. And if you haven't heard the story, the reason why he's called the bartender is because, wait for it, he was a bartender.
Makes sense.
From the Tucson area. Left minor league baseball as a very young man in the Brewers organization. Just kind of bummed around for a while. And while he was enjoying himself, he got a job tending bar at the Hut, which is a great tiki bar near the U of A campus in Tucson. And he did that, among other things, for about 5 years and then got back into baseball. Had a good run with the Seattle Mariners in their bullpen, and now he's here with the Diamondbacks. Brandon Drury 0 for 1. Did you ever wear a microphone when you were playing? I know you used to do those post-game shows with the Giants, which is how you got started doing this.
I don't remember ever doing what Tom Wilhelmsen did for Fox Arizona today, putting the mic on during BP and trying to go around and ambush your teammates. I don't remember ever doing that.
When they were filming things in black and white, they probably didn't have the technology. Drury, I'm kidding. Drury rolls one into left center, a one-out single.
Cave drawings.
Base hit for Brandon. That'll bring up David Peralta. Now, how did you get started doing those shows again for the Giants? You just kind of walked into it, right?
Yeah, long story short, Joe Morgan had the post-game show with the Giants at the tail end of his career. When he left, Dwayne Kuiper was right there to step in and take over. And when Kuiper left, there was no logical candidate to fill in. They asked me if I wanted to give it a shot. So did it on a probationary basis for a year, and the fans seemed to like it, and I enjoyed it, and you know, did it as a player, did it as a coach with the Giants.
So you're a player for the Giants. Is it radio?
Yeah.
And so you're doing your own post-game show. How did that work?
Well, at times it was really good, and they pretty much gave me liberty to do whatever. I interviewed umpires, I interviewed opposing players, I interviewed our own players. Sometimes I would just get on there and freelance. We would talk about, you know, travel on the road and bus rides and meals in the clubhouse and whatever happened to pop into my pea brain after the ball game was over. If there was a point of rule in the game, sometimes I would try to explain it to the fans, and it was a lot of fun.
I would like to find the lost archives of you interviewing umpires.
Ooh, a long time ago.
David had a base hit his first time up. No shift this time from the Dodgers. So at that point, did you realize, hey, maybe after I'm done playing, I might do this for a while?
Never really thought about it in those terms, or, you know, as far as looking into the future. When you're a player, you know, the future is the next pitch. You don't really think too far off into the distant future, but certainly it was a great experience for me. I learned something about the business, how broadcasting works. And
how does it work?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I still haven't figured that out.
Let me know when you find out.
I was told it's like making sausage. Well, you don't really want to see how it's made. You just like the end product.
Well, a good ball game going here. Dodgers and Diamondbacks tied at 2 in the fourth. One and two on David Peralta. There's a future D-back here at Chase Field. Ever get the feeling like somebody's chasing you?
Follow the money. Boy, Alex Wood, for all his herky-jerky motion out there on the mound, when he wants to, he can reach back and put a little extra velocity on that fastball. He's been up in the mid-90s a couple times tonight.
It's been with him sort of the same thing we see with Archie Bradley. When he works in relief, suddenly that 90-mile-an-hour fastball goes 94, 95. So he's kind of been throwing it that hard most of this year. This is only his second start. And he strikes out Peralta on the changeup.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located right here at Chase Field during any D-backs regular season home game.
2 down for Jeff Mathis, the catcher, who struck out in his first at bat. Jeff Mathis, originally a first-round draft pick out of high school in Mariana, Florida. That was by the Angels back in '01. Played 7 seasons in Anaheim. Was in Toronto for a bit. He's played the last 4 years in Miami. Always been a glove first backup catcher type. He's never had a season with at least 300 at bats, and he's played in more than 90 games in a season only twice in his career, and the last time was 2011. Defense has always been his calling card. Considered to have very good hands, excellent arm strength, accuracy. Blocks pitches in the dirt, handles the pitching staff, fulfills all the game plans. That's on a play, and it's 1-2.
Well, you know the Dodgers are in town. There's a beach ball on the field. Great big soccer ball.
Yeah, well, they're well behaved so far.
So far, so good.
That's right. First of a 3-game set, the D-backs and the Dodgers, as we open up a 10-game homestand. Just got a piece of that fastball, and it stays 1-2. That was up.
Yeah, got a fastball up in the zone that time, fouled it straight back.
Brandon Drury at first after his 1-out single. 2 down, a ball and 2 strikes to Jeff Mathis. Rondal hangs on, and Alex Wood gets his 5th strikeout. Through 4 innings, D-backs and Dodgers all tied at 2.
It's the place to be this weekend, D-backs and Dodgers. Tomorrow, first 20,000 fans with us will get a car sunshade courtesy of Safeline Auto Glass. And then this Sunday, kids can pick up the D-backs water bottle courtesy of Smile Generation. D-backs and Dodgers, some big giveaways this weekend. For tickets, check out dbacks.com. We are back home. That means we're reunited with the lovely Mike and Vanessa. How are you guys?
Good. We missed you guys. How's everything?
We're a little tired, but we're doing fine.
Okay.
Did you guys get some rest while we were gone?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. We also do wake up at the crack of dawn. Before the crack of dawn for this one.
With your multimedia careers, there's no time for sleep.
It's okay. It keeps us busy.
Now, I noticed you opened this before we came on camera because, you know, frankly, you almost killed me the other day. Yeah.
Well, I know. And then, you know, even though we have been away, I still haven't had time to practice closing this.
I'm afraid.
Do you want to give it a shot?
I'm going to try
Well, let's see how easy this thing is to maneuver.
Okay.
All right.
Pretty
nice.
close.
See?
Not bad. Not bad.
So
you just shove it under your back seat. You just shove it right under the back seat.
Look at that. That's
but to be honest with you, the way I would do it is I would just leave it like this and then put it in my back seat. Right?
Right.
Isn't
and
that
then
easier?
Okay. And then
when I'm ready to use it, then you just pull it out of the back seat.
watch out.
And you just bam. There you go.
Nicely
That
done.
easy.
See, you've really improved with that thing.
Yes, and then everybody knows that you love the D-backs in the parking lot.
Chase Utley, Walker's on it, and he throws him out. One down to open up the fifth inning. That of course is tomorrow, the car sunshade. And then Mike, Sunday, do you guys have the water bottle? Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, this is good stuff right here for the kids.
D-backs water bottle, courtesy of Smile Generation.
Yeah.
This is Sunday's giveaway.
Yeah, not even the kids. I want one of these.
Well, you're a kid at heart.
You're right.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get one.
So you guys, these giveaways, that's the good news. You guys want to know the bad news?
There's bad news?
The sunshade and the water bottle, it's the perfect time because it might hit 100 this weekend for the first time this year.
On Sunday.
Well, you know, we're used to that.
I don't mean to bring it down, but I'm just saying.
Way to go, Mike.
The average first day of 100 is May 2nd. We're like almost 2 weeks early.
What are you trying to say? Something going on with the climate we're not aware of?
No, I'm just saying.
He's like, we are in Arizona.
I'm saying it's the perfect time for a sunshade from Safeline Auto Glass and a perfect time for a water bottle.
I see what you're tying it in to the weather because you got to keep the car cool. You got to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mike, you're well ahead of all of us here.
Yeah.
Nice job.
And he knows how to close this.
I do.
Do it.
You did a good job,
Look how fast he does it. Let me just show you guys. Hurry if you can.
All right, go ahead.
Look at this. He's amazing.
Let's do this pitch.
We got to watch the baseball.
Yeah,
All
that's
right, look out. All right, well, Alex Wood's got to collect his bat. All right, Mike Bauer demonstrating the car sunshade. Go ahead.
Ooh, look. He's such a pro. Like, how does he do that?
Wait, mic drop now.
It's like Doug Henning magic show. All right, that's enough. You're done. She's going to kill somebody with that thing. The lovely Mike and Vanessa. Thanks, guys.
It's all funny until somebody got hurt.
Exactly. Alex Wood strikes out. Fifth strikeout for Taijuan Walker. 2 down in the fifth.
Center fielder, Josh Peterson.
Seriously, that is a really good car sunshade. Usually those things are the cheapo cardboard ones. Not this one. This is quality.
And it identifies your favorite team for the whole world to see while you're parked and at the mall.
I noticed your staff while we were on the road had a sunshade, and they were running all over different ballparks holding it up. Jock Peterson in the leadoff spot tonight. He has singled and grounded out, 1 for 2. D-backs have the shift on for the left-hand batter. Peterson batted leadoff only once all last year, but he's in the leadoff spot tonight. And he hits a base hit into the shift. It's headed for the corner. Peralta over to cut it off. Peterson running hard to second, and he is in there. Oh, that was close. We're back to a 4-man umpiring crew. Mike Winters, who left the game temporarily, the second base umpire, back in there, and he says Peterson safe at second.
Told Mike Winters not to eat the chili. Good to see him back. Jock Peterson gets out in front of that pitch and hooks it out into the right field corner. Nice job by David to cut it off. Throw right on the money. Peterson just does get in there with a slide.
Yep. That's his second double this season, his second hit tonight. He's in scoring position with 2 outs for Corey Seager, who homered in the first. Knocks it into center. Here comes Peterson. He will score, and it's 3-2 LA. Seager's knocked in all 3 runs.
well on that breaking ball on the outer third of the plate and bangs it back up the middle of the field. And with 2 outs in the inning, Jock Peterson is off at the crack of the bat and scores without a play.
Well, again, Taijuan goes to that first pitch breaking ball, and Seager looked like he was ready for it. That'll bring up Justin Turner, who doubled his last time up. Turner's double was his 9th this year. That leads the National League. And he's now hit safely in 7 straight games. Each team now with 5 hits. Popped it up right center field. Pollock's out there. But with 2 outs, Peterson doubles and Seager singles. Dodgers take a 3-2 lead. Guys single. He's knocked in all 3 Dodger runs as we start the home half of the 5th inning. It's time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. And this is breaking news. Madison Bumgarner, who never in his career had been on the disabled list, will be out, they believe, for the next 6 to 8 weeks after injuring his left shoulder in a dirt bike accident on an off day in Denver. Ooh. And that is a big time no-no. What was he thinking?
Well, he obviously didn't read paragraph 5B of the standard player contract.
Now, I believe you have one handy. What does it say in paragraph 5B about what you can and cannot do as a big league player?
Well, the player agrees not to participate in certain other sports that may impair or destroy the player's extraordinary baseball skill. And it goes on to list some of the activities you're not allowed to participate in.
And this is in basically everybody's contract.
Boilerplate contract. Some guys have other clauses in there, you know, to specifically address an individual player, but this is in basically every contract. 2 absolute prohibitions: professional boxing and wrestling. Darn.
Well, those are out. What else can't he do?
Skiing, skydiving, auto racing, motorcycle racing, any exhibition of basketball, soccer, ice hockey, and football. It goes on down here. You're not allowed to work on an airplane, including piloting an airplane, as well as simply being a passenger in a single-engine plane. Extreme sports like bungee jumping, hang gliding, racing horses, snowmobiles, luge.
You can't luge?
No bobsledding. Forget it.
Oh, that ain't right.
No rodeos.
Well, wait, he rides horses all the time.
Well, I'm sorry.
All right.
No mountain climbing.
All right, then.
And couple that really surprised me. Handball, which, you know, that's
no handball
conditioning, you know, in the wintertime. A lot of guys play handball.
Yeah.
No polo. That gets back to riding the horse.
More horses.
No chopping wood.
Wait, he chops wood in those commercials all the time.
And this is the big one.
What do you got?
No spelunking.
You mean in the caves with the light on your head?
Yeah, can't do that.
What about spelunking on horseback? Is that out? Can you even do that? Is that a thing?
Maybe, but it's prohibited.
A.J. Pollock has homered and doubled, takes a 3-0 strike. So Madison Bumgarner decided on his off day in Denver to do a little dirt biking and sprained his left shoulder, obviously his throwing shoulder, and is out 6 to 8 weeks.
Now it goes on to say that should the player be injured participating in any of these activities, the team would have a basis for voiding the remainder of the contract or converting the salary from guaranteed to non-guaranteed.
Well, they're not paying him anyway, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
Chris Owings. Giants are at Colorado. They're losing 6-4 in the 7th inning at Coors Field. And A.J. Pollock is 3 for 3, and he's a triple shy of the cycle. Well, you know, A.J. opened up the season with a 4-game hitting streak. And now he's got a 5-game hitting streak, including tonight. But in between those 2 streaks, there was a 2 for 32 stretch. So he's run very hot and very cold so far this year.
Boy, the thing you really like about A.J. tonight, his approach. The home run came to the opposite field. The double came to the gap in left center. And that single slapped through the right side of the infield. Just hitting the ball wherever it's pitched.
A 1-out base runner for Chris Owings. CO had an RBI double his last time up. What's going to happen while you're spelunking that there? For you going to trip in the dark or something?
Bitten by a bat, a rabid bat.
Well, we've seen Taijuan Walker in his 2 at-bats so far. After injuring himself a couple of games ago hitting against the Giants, not really even swing the bat in his 2 at-bats tonight. Trying to bunt attempt, but Taijuan is really laying low when he's got the bat in his hands. Wood now at 70 pitches, 48 strikes. Gonzalez playing in front of the runner Pollock at first. Scamper back over there. Why is he playing off the bag like that with a guy that can steal bases as Pedro Baez starts warming up? Shouldn't Gonzalez be holding him on the bag?
That's a good question. I mean, Chris Owings is not known as a dead opposite field hitter. He sprays him around pretty good, and when he gets something middle of the plate in, he likes to pull the ball. He's playing a little cat and mouse over there with A.J. Pollock.
It's like he's playing zone defense in a basketball game. Box and 1 over there at first.
Well, the Diamondbacks base stealers against the Dodgers over the past couple of years. We know that many times they just take off while the pitcher's still standing out there on the rubber. Ball is delivered to home plate and they walk into second base. So maybe this is a way to try to combat that a little bit. Have the first baseman off the bag and jockeying back and forth. Tough to just take off when you're not sure what that first baseman's doing.
You got A.J. hopping towards second, Gonzalez hopping back toward first. They're both shuffling back and forth down there. 2-1 now on CO. Goldie on deck. Noted in San Francisco, or San Diego I should say, that Goldie had changed his on deck stance. Well, he's back in his normal spot here tonight, foot against that back railing. There's a look at first base. Gonzalez getting a workout down there. Yasmani Grandal checking the chart.
Checking the cheat sheet.
Swings through the 2-1. Big breaking ball there that time from Wood. Goldie on on deck, 0 for 2 so far.
Go to chapter 2 there.
I didn't know there was a second chapter. I mean, how much information does he need back there? Got 2 pages on that thing.
Well, we saw him one game at Dodger Stadium where he started with the cheat sheet on his left forearm and then took it off later in the game.
You're right. Always looks into the dugout to Rick Honeycutt, then checks the chart. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Chris Owings. Pollock at first, 1 out.
And then Alex Wood shakes him off.
That's great.
What's the point?
It doesn't say here, shake off.
No breaking ball.
Gonzalez still in front of the runner. Double play ball to shortstop. Seager for 1. Utley can't turn it. They throw it away. The veteran Chase Utley.
It's going to be tough to turn with CO's speed anyway, but Utley just pulls his throw way wide of the bag down there at first into the Dodgers dugout on the first base side. So Chris Owings moves up into scoring position with 2 outs.
Can't assume the double play, so there's no error. It brings up Goldie. CO the tying run in scoring position. And there's the quick intentional walk with first base open. The automatic intentional walk has 2 on and 2 out. First walk of the ball game for Alex Wood. Well, that was kind of a no-brainer. You got first base open, 2 outs. The lefty coming up in Lamb. Jake has struck out flat out 0 for 2. Defensive alignment has Seager, the shortstop, right behind the second base bag, and Utley out there on the grass in right field. That one goes through. Grandal. Owings in at third, Goldie at second, and now a single can give the D-backs the lead.
Spiked fastball right there. Grandal didn't get the glove down close enough to the dirt to stop that one. Looked like it hit him on the inside of the left foot. Ricocheted back toward the Dodgers on deck circle.
Big chance for the Diamondbacks with 2 outs. Base hit. Owings scores. Here comes Goldie, and it's 4-3 Diamondbacks. A 2-run, 2-out single against the lefty for Jake Lamb.
Without the wild pitch would have been 1 run, but because of the wild pitch, Goldie gets a great jump out there at second. He's off on contact with 2 outs in inning, and no play for Jock Peterson.
Dave Roberts out to the mound. He'll take the baseball, and that's the end of the night for Alex Wood. And the Diamondbacks have knocked him out of the game. They lead it 4-3 back from Chase Field after this. Single has made it 4-3 D-backs in the 5th inning. Fans, MLB.TV Premium is back, and it's better than ever. You can watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices, and you'll get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. The hard-throwing right-hander Pedro Baez comes on out of the Dodger bullpen. 4 hitless innings in his 3 appearances this year with 6 strikeouts. Yasmani Tomas is the hitter. He's 0 for 2. Fastball up. Baez is an extremely deliberate worker. Works at just about as slow a pace as you'll find, but contrast that with how hard he throws. Everything is upper 90s fastballs for the most part. Asmani sends one toward the right field corner. Puig on a run near the line, and he's got it in foul ground. Another nice catch out there by Yasiel Puig, but Jake Lamb comes up big. 2 on, 2 out, and it's a 2-run single through 5, 4-3 Diamondbacks. Wood out of the ball game with that 2-out 2-run single to make it 4-3 Diamondbacks in the opener of this 3-game series against the Dodgers. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. 2 more versus LA this weekend. Robbie Ray and Kenta Maeda tomorrow night, and then Sunday afternoon former D-back Brandon McCarthy takes the mound against Shelby Miller. Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 2 leads off the 6th against Taijuan Walker. Diamondbacks are back home for a long 10-game homestand. Gonzalez has struck out, grounded out. So far this year, just 2 for 15 against the Diamondbacks. A pair of singles. That's out of play. 0-2. Taijuan Walker so far has given up 3 runs on 5 hits. He's walked 1 and struck out 5. And the pitch count is in pretty decent shape right now as we start the 6th. High fastball missed, and it's 1-2. Bullpen quiet for the D-backs.
Fastball up.
Chased it with 2 strikes.
Oh, we saw Dodger hitters up and down the lineup at Dodger Stadium chasing that pitch right there.
Just could not lay off. And good hitters, guys like Seager and Gonzalez and on down the list. Can't lay off it sometimes. Little splitter down and away, rolls foul. Fastball up, split change up, down and away. Here at Chase Field, the roof is open. A gorgeous night in downtown Phoenix. Really comfortable at the ballpark. The outfield panels are closed as we open this 10-game homestand with 3 against the Dodgers. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly with you. Taijuan Walker now at 80 pitches, 49 for strikes. He strikes out Gonzalez to open up the 6th. That's 6 strikeouts for Taijuan.
Changeup inside has been an effective weapon against some of the left-handed hitters in this Dodger lineup tonight. I mentioned it earlier in the game. I don't think that's exactly where he wants to throw it, but he's gotten a good result.
Yasiel Puig go for 2.
Usually that changeup, you want to throw it on the outer third of the plate, have it dip off the plate low and away from a left-handed hitter, try to get weak contact or a swing and a miss, but he's actually thrown it on the inside corner and got those same swings and misses.
He struck out Gonzalez twice tonight. There's a strike to Puig with a fastball, and it's 1-1. 2 very good catches in the outfield by Yasiel Puig tonight. One running toward the pool in right center. And a very good running catch in foul ground on that last out in the 5th inning off the bat of Yasmani Tomas. Goes after the fastball upstairs and fouls it back. It's 1-2. Well, he's got Puig set up like he had Gonzalez 1-2. Got that second strike with a high fastball. Last time he went to that splitter. Let's see what Jeff Mathis calls for here.
Breaking ball.
Oh, he left it out over the plate. That was a hanger, and Taijuan got away with one right there. That is not the location he wants to put that pitch to a guy like Puig.
He took a deep breath after that last delivery. That slider just not where he wanted it. You see Jeff Mathis sets up outside and low. That pitch is up and out over the plate. Fortunately, just fouled out of play.
Fastball up, and again, Puig can't lay off that pitch. Going to that a little more often now as we go the 3rd time through the order for Taijuan.
I think it'll be a good weapon for him, especially since he threw so many off-speed pitches the first couple times through the Dodger order.
Breaking ball again, and again Puig fouls it off. That one was down a little bit more. D-backs lead at 4-3. They've out hit the Dodgers 7-5 after trailing at 2-0. Get it down, says Mathis. It's down. Puig lays off, and it's 2-2. Did you tap your glove like that when you wanted to remind a guy, okay, throw this one in the dirt?
Yeah, once in a while. It's kind of standard operating procedure for a catcher to really try to emphasize, don't throw it for a strike, throw it in the dirt.
Fastball up out over the plate. Puig drives it deep right. Peralta's at the wall, and he's got it. That one caught a little bit too much of the hitting zone for Taijuan Walker's liking, and Puig almost took it out of here.
Long, loud out. Didn't get that one up quite high enough. Right at the top of the zone. Puig chases David Peralta all the way to the wall out there near the 376 mark.
Got under it just a tick. So 2 down now for Grandal, the switch hitting catcher. Bullpen will start to get busy now for the Diamondbacks. Puig go for 3. Grandal has struck out and walked tonight. Jorge De La Rosa, the left-hander, will start warming up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Taijuan at 90 pitches, 56 strikes. Hard to first by Goldie, a fair ball down the right field line. It's in the corner. Peralta will fish it out of there, and Grandal will head for third as David can't pick the ball up. Grandal looked like he was content to settle for the double, but Peralta seemed to have an issue out there in the corner.
And that's usually a determining factor in whether the guy's credited with a triple or a double and an error on the right fielder. If the runner's stopping at second base and then starts again and ends up at third, usually they give an error to the right fielder. David just misplayed that one off the heel of the glove.
Yeah, there's an error up on the board. Comes Mike Butcher now with De La Rosa warming up the bullpen. So it is indeed a double for Yasmani Grandal, his second this year. E9, the error on Peralta puts him at third base with 2 outs. And he's the tying run. The hitter is Andrew Toles. Toles has grounded out, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Remember last time Toles, when he struck out against Taiwan, fouled off a bunch of 2-strike pitches. It was a tough at bat. And he's ahead 1-0. Behind in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Chase Utley on deck. Left-hander warming up in the D-back bullpen. Dodger bullpen will get busy in case they have to hit for Baez. There's a strike and it's 2-1. Ross Stripling, the right-hander. There's Turner Ward on the left, former D-back hitting coach, now the hitting coach for the Dodgers. Taiwan can't get a glove on it. It rolls into center, and the Dodgers tie the ball game. Well, that extra 90 feet now looms large in a 4-4 game.
Yeah, it sure does. There's very little chance Grandal could have scored from second base on this hard grounder back up the middle of the field, but from third base, he can just walk on.
And Torey Lovullo will walk to the mound. That'll be it for Taijuan Walker. He couldn't quite get through the 6th inning. Gives up 4 runs on 7 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts, responsible for 1 base runner. And we'll take a break from Chase Field. Dodgers have come back to tie it at 4. La Rosa in a 4-4 ball game now with 2 outs in the 6th inning. It's our Ashline call to the bullpen. And on to face Chase Utley as the veteran left-hander, his 8th appearance of the year.
Jorge De La Rosa pitched in relief of Taijuan Walker at Dodger Stadium. Archie Bradley came in and went 2 2/3 of shutout, 1-hit baseball. Jorge De La Rosa a third of an inning, and then Fernando Rodney closed it out. Be asked maybe for a little more length tonight out of Jorge De La Rosa.
Possibly. Utley 0 for 2 tonight and 1 for 22 on the year. Pitcher spot is due up next for the Dodgers, and Kike Hernandez is in the on-deck circle with Ross Stripling warming up in the LA bullpen. Walker got the first 2 outs of this inning. He struck out Gonzalez, got Puig to fly out, and Grandal doubled down the right field line. Peralta bobbled the ball out there for an E9, allowing Grandal to get to third, and he snuck in on a Tolles infield single to tie it up. And now it's De La Rosa versus Utley. Each team now with 7 hits. One thing about Jorge De La Rosa, we saw a lot of him as a starter for the Colorado Rockies, and he was pretty consistently low 90s, but as a reliever with the Diamondbacks, he is consistently mid 90s with that fastball. A real uptick in the velocity. Utley hits one pretty deep left field. Yasmani Tomas at the wall, and he's got it. So Jorge De La Rosa ends the inning, but the Dodgers tie it up. It's 4-4 at Chase.
Backs as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Hey fans, anytime the Diamondbacks score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. Of course, those fans knew that.
Well, we got to get 5 runs. Dave and Sue are standing by. They want some tacos. Get tacos, you got a 5-4 lead at least here. And Brandon Drury, who singled his last time up, will try and get it started against Pedro Baez in the home half of the 6th. Brandon 1 for 2 tonight. D-backs, after splitting a 4-game set at Dodger Stadium last weekend, ready to set a new tone in their home park against LA. They split 5-5 at Chase Field with the Dodgers last year. Fastball up and in at 96. It's 2-0. Dodgers opening up a 7-game road trip, 3 here at Chase Field and 4 in San Francisco against the Giants, where they now know they won't have to face Madison Bumgarner, who's out 6 to 8 weeks after injuring his left shoulder in a dirt bike accident. Giants are at Colorado tonight. They trail the Rockies 6-5 in the 8th inning at Coors Field. Padres are home at Petco hosting the Marlins. That's 1-1 in the 6th inning. Drury ahead 3-0. Four-pitch walk. Good start for the D-backs in the 6th. Here's Taijuan Walker's final line. 4 runs all earned on 7 hits and 5 2/3, a walk and 6 strikeouts. The error by Peralta in the right field corner in the top half of this inning really came back and bit him. It allowed Grandal to score from third on Andrew Toll's single up the middle to tie the ball game. So here's David with Drury at first and nobody out. Baez having trouble throwing strikes. It's 1-0. Goes to a changeup at 88. 1-1. Each team with 4 runs on 7 hits. Each team has left 4 on base. Fastball up, missed, and it's 2-1.
Baez trying to follow the Taijuan Walker game plan, elevating that fastball. Diamondbacks hitters aren't biting.
Baez so far in the game has thrown 9 pitches, 7 of them balls.
And back to the changeup again in the high 80s.
Hang it. Swung through it. It's 2-2. Archie Bradley warming up in the D-back bullpen. There's Coach Mike Fetters. Pitcher spot is coming up after Jeff Mathis, who's on deck. 3-2 to David Peralta. Drury takes off for second. Ball 4. First 2 have walked in the D-backs 6th. Hey fans, tomorrow Fox Sports Arizona is taking over the D-backs ticket office during our broadcast against the Dodgers. It's a one-night only ticket offer that will have an experience of a lifetime included for a lucky ticket buyer. So make sure you're watching our game tomorrow. It starts at 4:30. As Fox Sports Arizona, it's the D-backs ticket office takeover.
You want to talk about a pump fake?
Yeah.
Having De La Rosa come out into the on-deck circle.
You know, I noticed that Torrey will do this every once in a while. Throw up kind of a smoke screen up there, or he'll put a right and left-handed potential pinch hitter and have him stand out on the top step just to sort of give the illusion or confusion for the other dugout. But you're right, De La Rosa is in the on-deck circle right now. Mathis up there. He's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Squares to bunt. That one goes foul. What do you make of that? You like it? A little gamesmanship?
Yeah,
or?
you know, you don't want to tip your hand, and you know, technically Jorge De La Rosa is the number 9 hitter in the lineup after Jeff Mathis, so you send him out into the on-deck circle knowing full well that he probably isn't going to take the at-bat. Of course, it depends on what happens right here, but I saw Jeremy Hazelbaker walking behind Torlavella with a bat in hand.
Well, this requires a lot of meetings at the mound for Gonzalez and Turner, the first and third baseman. 0-1 on Jeff Mathis. Drury at second, Peralta at first, nobody out. Gonzalez creeps in from first. Mathis squares and pops it up, and now it's 0-2.
And if you need any other indication, when you bunt with your number 8 hitter to advance 2 runners into scoring position, it isn't for the pitcher.
But there's a pitcher in the on-deck circle. But now Jeff is in danger of having a really non-productive at-bat in an 0-2 hole. It's been tough sledding for Mathis at the plate, who is 2 for his last 30 up there. Will he try and bunt with 2 strikes? Gets behind the catcher Grandal, and there you go. There's your gift 90 feet times 2. Just as effective as a bunt, and it didn't cost you an out.
Right off the webbing of the glove. That's just a miss on the part of Yasmani Grandal. Didn't appear that ball had any cutting action or did anything unusual. Just didn't get the glove to the spot.
Drury at third. Peralta at second base. Still nobody out. A 1-2 count on Mathis. Now Jeremy Hazelbaker has come out in the on-deck circle instead of Jorge De La Rosa. The 1-2 to Mathis. Fastball up, missed. There's Hazelbaker, who would hit for the pitcher De La Rosa. Archie Bradley has been warming up at the D-backs bullpen. Full count, 3-2. Baez so far has thrown more than twice as many balls as he has strikes. He's already walked 2 in the inning. Mathis was trying to give himself up. Now he's standing up there with a full count. Drury at third. Peralta at second. A 3-2 to Jeff Mathis. Got him. 1 down in the 6th. Now Hazelbaker being announced as the pinch hitter. Jeremy Hazelbaker, 7 hits and 14 at bats this year. He had a 2-run triple in the 9th inning Tuesday in San Diego, his last time up. You like this matchup?
Well, Jeremy Hazelbaker can hit a fastball if he gets a strike. First pitch changeup at 89, fading off that outside corner. He's got like Baez Baez, it's really all about mistakes. If he makes a mistake, you have to be ready to take advantage of it. He's thrown so many fastballs up high out of the zone. The splitter, or actually the changeup, has been his strike pitch.
He's only thrown 7 strikes so far, and 2 of those were fouled off bunt attempts by Mathis. Turner and Gonzalez on the corners even with the bag. Utley and Seager in on the grass a bit in the middle. And you can see where the outfield lines up. Peterson in center field over toward the pool in right center. All kinds of room in left center field. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jeremy Hazelbaker. Went back to that changeup. A.J. Pollock, who's a triple shy of the cycle, is on deck. Fastball at 98 fouled away, and it stays 1-2.
When your fastball's 98, 10 miles per hour off that on your changeup would be 88, and that's what we've seen from Baez tonight.
And that's clearly been his most effective pitch, that changeup. .22 pitches, only 9 strikes. Struck him out. Went back to the fastball. 2 down now. Here comes Pollock. Well, AJ got the scoring started with his first career leadoff homer after Seager homered in the top of the first to make it 2-0. Pollock a solo shot. It's 2-1. Then AJ doubled and scored in the 3rd and singled in the 5th. 3 for 3. He's been the State Farm winning combo all by himself. And now they really need a big hit from Pollock. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Drury walked to lead off the inning. Peralta walked behind him. They both moved up 90 feet on a pass ball by Osmani Grandal. The Diamondbacks had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out in this inning. And now it's up to AJ to get the runs home. 4-4 in the 6th. Well, he really cannot throw that fastball for a strike. In the air, center field. Peterson has room. He backs 2nd and 3rd. No outs in a tie game. And they cannot get a run across. Here comes Archie Bradley, still 4-4. Friday night here at Chase Field. Big crowd on hand. D-backs and Dodgers all time. Hey fans, if you can't catch the games on television, stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. Archie Bradley on for the Diamondback bullpen to start the 7th inning. It's our Ashline call to the bullpen. His 5th appearance of the year. He's yet to give up an earned run, and he has been dominant in this role. Pitcher spot will lead it off for LA. And Chris Taylor just called up for the minor leagues this week. Will hit for the pitcher Baez. Taylor has doubled twice since his recall for the minors this week. Dodgers had to place both Logan Forsythe and Rob Seguin on the DL. They both have toe injuries, so Taylor is up. Swings at that one and fouls it off. They brought up Taylor and Brett Eibner to take those 2 roster spots. He hits one, gone. Left field, 5-4 LA. Chris Taylor's first big league home run came in this ballpark last July. A grand slam off Silvino Bracho. He finished a single shy to cycle in that game at 6 RBIs, and he makes it 5-4 LA.
Center fielder, Peterson.
Looked like a cutter that ended up right in the middle of the plate. Yeah, just didn't take much break that time at all. Bad location, and Taylor bangs it out of here to left field.
Well, Archie Bradley, most consecutive batters faced without allowing a home run. He had 192 in a row. Before that home run by Taylor, that had been the 4th longest streak in the major leagues. Taylor's had a good week. Gets called up, 2 doubles and a homer. And now here's the birthday boy, Jock Peterson. Turns 25 today. He has singled, doubled, and scored twice. Chris Taylor. D-backs have the shift on for Peterson. It's 1-2. Boy, now the fact that you couldn't get a run home in that 6th inning really hurts. 2nd and 3rd, no outs.
You know, in hindsight's always 20/20, but it's a little puzzling to me personally that we didn't see a pinch hitter for Jeff Mathis in that particular spot. Diamondbacks are carrying 3 catchers, and when you have that particular situation, sometimes you can ambush an opposing team unsuspectingly, thinking you're going to let your catcher hit for himself, drop a pinch hitter in there before they can get a relief pitcher warmed up, and take your chances.
Yeah, Jeff, since that 3-hit game opening day, has gone 2 for 31 at the plate. Peterson hits one toward the right field foul pole, but it hooks out of play.
Peterson 3 for 9 lifetime against Archie Bradley with a couple of home runs. He's also struck out 3 times.
Fastball missed, and it's full 3-2. Seager, who homered in the 1st, is on deck. Dodgers have 8 hits in the ball game. 5 of them from their first 3 hitters, Peterson, Seager, and Turner. 9th pitch of this at bat coming up from Archie Bradley. Popped it up. Mathis behind the plate near the on-deck circle. You have to watch out when you're fielding one of those pop-ups on those sort of plastic on-deck circle things.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the ones here at Chase Field, but occasionally, you know, especially you go somewhere like San Francisco where there's a lot of moisture in the air, San Diego with that marine layer late at night. And the plastic ones can be really slick when you get back in that area. The Diamondbacks look like their on-deck circles are kind of textured, so maybe not as slick as some of the ones in other ballparks.
Seager laces it right by Lamb, right through the hole. Would have been a very difficult play for Jake, and Corey Seager has his 3rd hit tonight.
Third baseman, Justin Turner.
Man, this kid can hit.
A homer and 2 singles.
You see him taking it bat every now and then. You think, oh, there's a weakness. There's a hole right there. You can exploit that. And then the next time you try to go back to it, he ends up hitting a line drive somewhere on exactly the same pitch you got him out on the at bat before. It's a way advanced beyond his years.
He's only 22. He turns 23 next week. Corey Seager, unanimous National League Rookie of the Year last year. Here's Justin Turner, who doubled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Turner's double, his 9th already this year. That leads the league. So he's now hit safely in 7 straight games. And hit him. Boy, he's had a tough week, Turner. He just got plunked Tuesday on the left hand by a fastball from Colorado's Kyle Freeland. Let's see where this one got him.
I think it just got Jersey that time.
Yep, nothing but Jersey. So the home run by Taylor has made it 5-4 LA. Now 2 on, 1 out. And Archie will pitch to Adrian Gonzalez, who's 0 for 3. Corey Seager at second, Justin Turner at first. Adrian Gonzalez, a .315 career hitter at Chase Field. He's never had a hit off Archie Bradley. Funny thing about Gonzalez, he's homered 21 times in this ballpark. But last year he did not hit here at all. He hit 158 in 10 games at Chase Field last year. Hitless so far tonight. Loopy breaking ball. Bradley snares it. Owings for 1. They roll it. Big double play started by Archie Bradley, but the Taylor homer puts the Diamondbacks down 1. ages of 10 and 16. If you'd like to be part of a D-backs telecast, interview a player, go behind the scenes and see what it takes to produce a baseball game for the TV, then come on out this Sunday to Chase Field of Fox Sports Arizona. Sanderson Ford Kidcaster auditions are from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Sandlot near Baxter's Den during the D-backs and Dodgers game. That's coming up this Sunday. D-backs trail at 5-4 as we start the home half of the 7th inning. New pitcher on for the Dodgers, the right-hander Ross Stripling. 5 relief outings this year. He's given up just 1 run in 8 1/3 innings of work. Diamondbacks faced him last weekend in the 3rd game of that series at Dodger Stadium, and Stripling in long relief that day pitched very well, gave up only 3 hits in 2 1/3 scoreless innings, had 3 strikeouts. Chris Owings, who has an RBI double and he scored a run, will lead off the 7th. Owings, Goldie, Lamb, 2, 3, and 4 for the Diamondbacks. They've been out hit 9-7. They trail at 5-4. CO laces it right into the glove of Utley, who makes a diving grab. Well, Chase Utley, you know, the bat has been pretty quiet this year, but at 38 years old, he can still defend.
A crafty veteran. He positions himself so well. What he may have lost in foot speed out there as a defender at second base, he makes up for with experience. Always puts himself in a good position. That time a diving stop to take a base hit away from CO.
Would have been nice to have the leadoff man on. Here's Goldie, who was given the free passes last time up, scored a run on the Lamb single. Stripling, when he pitched against the Diamondbacks over the weekend at Dodger Stadium, struck Goldie out. 1-1. He also struck out Jake Lamb in that ball game, and Jake's on deck. Fastball missed, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Base hit. That one will roll all the way to the wall in center field. Goldie in at second, and he'll hit for third. He's in there with a triple. His first triple this year. Paul Goldschmidt tying run at third with 1 out in the 7th.
Breaking ball that time from Stripling. Goldie bangs it into that gap. It sticks underneath the fence, which gives Goldie an opportunity to turn the corner there at second. Saw the ball stuck, realized it was going to take a miraculous play from Peterson and the cutoff man, so he motors on to third base.
Well, umpires are getting together here at the request of Dave Roberts, and the headsets will come on. All right, I'll bite.
Well, maybe because the ball got stuck under the fence, but if indeed you're going to claim that the ball was stuck under the padding, you have to throw your arms in the air just like you do at Wrigley Field when the ball gets stuck in the vines, and that time Peterson dug it out, so I would assume it's just a ball in play.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, it sticks right there, but Peterson goes and gets it, so that's just a ball in play.
Now, if he raises his arms up over his head, like if it had get stuck, say, in the ivy at Wrigley Field, it's an automatic double, right? You sort of give up and surrender?
Right, yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, this is going to require an explanation for Torey Novello.
Absolutely.
Dodgers
Mark Wagner, the third base umpire.
Without hearing the explanation from the umpiring crew, I think they missed one right there. I don't understand why that's not a ball in play.
Well, this is where baseball really needs to improve the communication in these circumstances, because we can't tell you exactly why it was ruled that way, other than to tell you what's announced at the ballpark, which is ground rule double. So hopefully we'll get an email explanation. Here's Jake Lamb, and Jake knocks it out to Toles in left field. And Goldie's going to have to hustle back to second, and they throw it away. Well, he ends up at third now.
Well, Goldie got out there quite a ways. He was 3/4 of the way to third base, thinking that ball might drop, and Toles just airmails it over everybody near that first base dugout, allowing Goldie to eventually advance to third base.
Another error goes up on the board for the Dodgers. So Goldie at third has the tying run, 2 outs, and here's Yasmani Tomas. Now Tomas has had one of those Yasmani Tomas nights. He's 0 for 3. In 3 at bats, he's seen a total of 5 pitches.
I'll pitching work right here.
You bet.
You can see Grandal kind of get himself into a position as Stripling was starting his delivery, anticipating that that ball might be in the dirt, and he was able to stop that one easily.
Good numbers for Yasmani against Ross Stripling, 3 for 7. Fly ball, right field line, Puig. And the Diamondbacks strand another key run in scoring position. It stays 5-4 Los Angeles. Shows you the scoring line in what's been a pretty wild ball game. We start the 8th inning. Diamondbacks trail the Dodgers 5-4. And we've had, Bob, a little bit of everything, including an interesting ruling from New York on that ball that Goldie hit. It did get lodged under the wall. And here's the discussion with Mike Winters and Mark Wagner explaining to A.J. Pollock, possibly, and this is just a guess, that they're saying if the ball gets lodged in there or stuck, then it becomes dead, which would mean Goldie stands at second base, which is where they put him. But hopefully we'll get the official word on that as Yasiel Puig leads off the 8th against Archie Bradley. Puig 0 for 3 tonight. D-backs have had their chances to tie the ball game or take the lead in this ball game. They've stranded 7 tonight. Chopped foul, and it's 1-2. Puig chases a fastball and strikes out. First strikeout for Archie tonight.
Elevated fastball against this Dodger lineup has been a great weapon both in LA and here tonight when you can get it up there above the top of the zone.
Yasmani Grandal doubled and scored his last time up.
Well, according to the Major League Rule Book 5.05A, subsection 7, a ball that gets stuck in a fence or a scoreboard, batter runner shall be entitled to 2 bases.
Well, Dave Roberts was right on it. He knew the rule because he immediately asked for a challenge when he didn't get the call from the umpiring crew here in the field.
And that's not a rule specific to Chase Field. That's any ballpark in the majors.
So according to the rule, that was the correct call. A ground rule double for Goldie. 1-2 on Yasmani Grandal. Well, then the only possible explanation for that not being ruled a double by the umpires on the field was they did not see it get stuck.
Or they didn't know the rule.
There is that. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
It was way out there in dead center. And of course, the umpires have to rotate over on a play like that. And it's a long run to get out there and see if the ball is stuck in the wall or merely lying up against it. 3-2. Well, good work breaking that one down there, BB.
That's our somewhat reliable staff being somewhat reliable.
Increasingly reliable, one might say. Won't last. Slapped away from the shift. Lamb at third. Boy, Jake's had a couple of throws over there from pretty deep at third, and he has fired an absolute strike right to Goldie's glove. That's good to see.
Really good to see. Hey, fans, prepare for a few big home games coming up in May that you do not want to miss. The D-backs will host the Detroit Tigers May 9th and 10th. The White Sox roll in here May 22nd through the 24th. Sunday, May 14th is Mother's Day. The first 10,000 moms will get a D-backs clutch purse courtesy of PetSmart. You can always get your tickets at dbacks.com.
Yeah, that's a purse that you get at the absolute last moment when you really needed it. That's a clutch purse. Is that what that is?
Good point.
No?
Yeah, that works.
Andrew Tolles an RBI single his last time up. That has been the difference in the game so far. And Grandal doubled with 2 outs against Taijuan Walker. Went to third on a bobble in right field by David Peralta, and scored the 4th Dodger run on the infield single by Tolles.
Well, you can get your clutch purse on Mother's Day. Diamondbacks could have used a clutch hit in either that 6th or 7th inning.
Big time. Broken bat bouncer right to Brandon Drury at second base, and Archie Bradley works a 1-2-3 8th inning. Brandon Drury will lead off the bottom of the 8th. When we come back, D-backs down 5-4.
And Mark Grace, I'm going to play the hockey card here. That 6th inning to 7th inning, Diamondbacks with runners in scoring position, nobody out, and then the Dodgers coming up with the big run to take the lead. It's like a hockey team killing a penalty and getting the goal. You believe in momentum. I know you do.
I'm a big believer in momentum. That was almost like breaking up a 5-on-3 power play right there. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Diamondbacks come up with nothing. Next batter of the top of the 7th, home run. Diamondbacks down a run.
All right, we'll break it down. Guys, bring it home, though, and let's see if we can change the tone of this. Stephen Bob, will send it back to you.
All right, guys, thanks. We'll look forward to Coach's Corner after the ball game with Ron McClain and Don Cherry. Brandon Drury leads off the bottom of the 8th.
Can't wait to see the sports coat.
That's right. Brandon has singled and walked. This is Todd's first game, right? This year? Yeah, since opening day.
Yeah.
So. Drury drives one deep right center. That's going to get to the wall. Takes a high hop. Brandon heads for second. He'll stop there. Brandon Drury, his 3rd double. He's the tying run in the 8th.
Fastball up. It wasn't away. It was over the heart of the plate and up, and Brandon bangs it into that gap in right center field. Had thoughts about going for 3, but leading off the inning, you have to be 100% sure you can make it to 3rd base. Decides to hold up at 2nd base and let his teammates do the dirty work.
Well, the D-backs have had their chances. 2nd and 3rd, no outs in the 6th, couldn't score. They had Goldie at 3rd in the 7th, couldn't score. And now Drury leads off the 8th with a double. David Peralta has singled and walked. He's 1 for 2. Dodgers have the shift on. 3 infielders on the right-hand side. Sergio Romo, the right-hander. Luis Avila, the lefty in the LA bullpen. Utley back on the grass at 2nd. Seeker, the shortstop, behind the bag, keeping Drury close. Now he backs off. Peralta over the glove of Turner. Tony Perez-Chica falls down and stopped Drury at 3rd. Tony was backing up there, the 3rd base coach, and he bit it. And from the seat of his pants, he held up the stop sign for Drury. I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
We were just talking about that earlier. A 3rd base coach will get as far down that 3rd baseline as he thinks he can, bring that runner around the bag, and then make a determination whether to send him or not. Unfortunately, Tony blew a tire there, fell down, but right there's the stop sign. Well, keep doing your job.
The ball was hit pretty hard. I don't think he would have sent him anyway. Certainly with no outs in his Drury, the tying run, you're going to make absolutely certain he could make it home. So the ball got to Tolles pretty quickly out there. David comes up with his 2nd hit tonight. He's been on base 3 times. And now we'll get a pinch hitter for Jeff Mathis. This is what you wanted before. Chris Herman is coming up, and Dave Roberts will go to the mound. D-backs have another threat going, down 5-4 in the 8th. over the field as the Diamondbacks sent Chris Herman, the left-hand hitter, up there to bat for Jeff Mathis. That's when Dave Roberts went to his left-hand pitcher, Luis Avalon. And there you can see Herman in the left-hand batter's box. Mike McClinsky, the plate umpire, writing Herman's name in there, so he was announced. And then when Roberts went to his lefty, Torey Lovullo goes to his right-hand hitter, and Chris Iannetta will take the at-bat.
Well, this is something that used to be fairly commonplace in Major League Baseball, to send up a pinch hitter to force the other manager to make a move and then burn that pinch hitter in favor of a matchup that you were looking for. Hopefully in this case it's Luis Avalon against the right-handed hitting Chris Iannetta.
Brandon Drury is the tying run at third. David Peralta the go-ahead run at first. Nobody out here in the eighth. So it's Avalon, the lefty, and Iannetta hitting from the right-hand side. 280 and 2 home runs. Chris has now hit safely in 5 straight games. First and third, nobody out. Down 1. He did not go, says Marty Foster down there, and it's 1-0 on Iannetta. Chris had a pair of hits, including a double in his start in San Diego last night. And he homered in each of his 2 starts prior to that. So he swung a very good bat as of late. 2-0. Pitcher spot is up next, and Daniel Descalso's in the on-deck circle. The 2-0 to Chris Iannetta. Checks his swing. Still didn't go, says Marty Foster. 3-0. Iannetta this year hitting over .550 versus left-hand pitching. Takes the 3-0. Mike McClinsky behind the plate.
Look away.
Well, it was away. That's a 3-0 strike. Green light on 3-1.
Oh yeah, I think he had the green light 3-0 if he liked it.
In the dirt, the bases are loaded. A double, a single, and a base on balls. Open up the bottom of the 8th, and here's Daniel Descalso to hit for Archie Bradley. Descalso this year just 3 for 23 at the plate, does have 3 RBIs. Bases full of Diamondbacks and nobody out. Down 1. Fastball in, missed. It's 1-0. Brandon Drury the tying run at third. David Peralta the go-ahead run at second. Chris Iannetta at first. In the dirt, ball 2. Missed with a curveball. A.J. Pollock, who's a triple shy of a cycle, is on deck. Descalso this year 0 for 6 versus left-hand pitchers. chopped foul toward first. 2 balls and a strike.
It looks like the Dodgers are playing for the double play, willing to concede a run as a trade-off for 2 outs. The exception would be a hard hit ball at either corner infielder, either Turner at third base or Adrian Gonzalez at first base. You might see them come home on a hard hit ball to try to cut off that tying run. But the middle infielders are playing back at double play depth. At least they were throughout this at bat by Daniel Descalso.
Single has a good chance to give the D-backs the lead. Two balls and 1 strike to Daniel Descalso. Taking all the way, and it's 3-1. Laid off a changeup that time.
Avalon needs to get a tin cup out there if he's going to beg for every pitch. That's not even close.
He did not go, says Mark Wagner. And Avalon walks in the tying run. It's 5-5. Good at bat by Daniel Descalso. And now here comes Dave Roberts. He'll go to a right-hander with A.J. Pollock coming up. The 4th bases-loaded walk issued by Dodger pitching this year. And that's tacos, BB.
You think I didn't know that?
You've got your new sign all ready to go. There it is. 5-5. We'll take a break from Chase Field and enjoy some delicious tacos right after this.
Everybody take a shot. Red light, green light.
And threatening more. Bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the 8th inning. And here's the veteran right-hander Sergio Romo on to face A.J. Pollock. A.J. tonight has homered, doubled, and singled. He's scored twice, and he is a triple shy of what would be the 7th cycle in Diamondback history. The inning has gone double, single, walk so far, and it's a 5-5 ball game. David Peralta, the go-ahead run at third. Chris Ionetta's at second base, and Daniel Descalso's at first. Still nobody out. Boy, Grandal is really going to have to be quick back there with all those Romo sliders coming at him.
Now, first pitch is a fastball in the dirt. Two-seamer that he just knocks down with the heel of his glove. Keeps it right there in front.
D-backs have out-hit the Dodgers 10-9. Roof open, panels closed. Big crowd on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix at Chase Field. There he did it again. Yasmani Grandal always appeals to the wrong base umpire on a check swing. He's nearly at 100%.
Check them all. That's that Romo slider. You'll see a bunch of those with him in the ball game. Yeah, he asked down to third and then first.
He does it every time. Well, he's a switch hitter. I'm sure it's going to have something to do with it. 1-1 on Pollock.
That's a balk.
That's a balk. And the Diamondbacks take the lead. They were down one, a bases loaded walk, and now a bases loaded balk, and it's 6-5 D-backs. Let's make that a Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. The bases loaded balk right there.
Yeah, he started and stopped.
Another gift run for the D-backs, who now lead at 6-5. Peralta comes home. Iannetta now at third. Descalso at second. And still nobody out. The infield comes in for Los Angeles. Two and one.
It's a lot easier said than done, but you really have to think about going opposite field against Sergio Romo. So many of those flat sliders are going to end up on the outer third of the plate, or even off the plate away. Your best chance is to look slider out over the plate, try to drive it to right field.
Two and two. Peterson in center, a couple of steps over toward the pool. Puig off the line and right. Double, single, walk, walk, balk so far. The D-backs have scored two. Two-two to A.J. Pollock. Got him.
Sweeping flat slider from Sergio Romo. I don't know if that was ever in the strike zone. Started it out there near the outside corner, ended up in the left-handed batter's box.
Well, it's going to be up to Chris Owings to provide some pad runs. CO had an RBI double in the third. Reached on a fielder's choice and an error in the fifth. One out. Iannetta at third. Descalso at second. Another slider missed, and it's 1-0 on CO.
Well, that balk really surprising from the veteran Romo. You might expect that from a young pitcher that may be feeling the nerves out there on the mound a little bit, but this guy's pitched in some of the toughest situations you can possibly imagine in the postseason.
And it was a pretty obvious one at that. Went back to that slider. Chris has laid off two of them so far, and he's ahead 2-0. The closer, Fernando Rodney, bullpen well rested heading into this series in homestand. Archie Bradley would be in line for the win. That's out of play. Well, this game has handled just about everything you can think of. Walks, balks, ball stuck in the padding out there. Dramatic home runs, leadoff home runs, you name it. Goldie on deck.
Something else you haven't seen much of this year is inherited runners scoring on the Dodger bullpen. Only 2 of 21 all season came around to score. Tonight, 2 already.
Another slider missed, and it's 3-1. You want to load him up for Goldie, I'm fine with that.
With Sergio Romo, there is no such thing as an obvious fastball count, but given the fact that Goldie's in the on-deck circle, this might be as close as you ever get to a fastball count.
Slider. Bases are loaded. Third walk in the inning issued by Dodger pitching, and here comes Paul Goldschmidt. Doubled his last time up, bases full and 1 out.
Now batting, first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
We talked about in the open, the offense after some quiet nights on that road trip would need to get it going on this homestand, and Goldie would be the key. Iannetta is at third, Descalso at second, and Owings at first. Paul started all 10 games on that road trip, had just 1 RBI, but 8 for 20 career against Romo. Bases loaded and 1 out. There's a strike, and it's 0-1.
Whoa.
You can see the look on Paul's face, biting his bottom lip that time. Goldie, base hit! Iannetta scores. They wave to Descalso. Here's the throw, and he is safe!
Slows it down enough that he has a possible play at the plate on Descalso. Oh, what a great slide. Way into foul territory, reaching back with that left hand, avoiding the tag of Yasmani Grandal. Gets on the dish. Boy, what a nice approach that time by Goldie. He is well aware of what Sergio Romo is going to try to do to him, and just banged that ball to the opposite field.
Now it's an 8-5 ball game, still only 1 out. They'll give Lamb the automatic intentional walk. Second one issued by the Dodgers tonight, and Tomas will hit with the bases full. Fourth walk in the inning, drawn by the Diamondbacks. And Yasmani Tomas, the 9th man to bat in the Arizona 8th. He is 0 for 4. Great job by our camera crew. Getting a great look at that Descalso slide into home. Yasmani, base hit! And here they come. Owings scores. Goldie right behind. And it's a 2-run double for Yasmani Tomas. 10-5 Diamondbacks.
That time stayed over the inner part of the plate, and Yasmani just rips it into that left field corner. Goldie had to kind of tap dance around Justin Turner there at third base. He easily scores.
Well, the D-backs have batted around in what has suddenly become a 6-run 8th inning. Brandon Drury started off this inning with a double. Well, the Diamondbacks tried time and time again in the 6th and 7th inning to just scratch a run across, and they couldn't do it, but they've broken open here. A 6-run 8th against Dave Roberts' Dodgers. And Goldie got the big hit. And Yasmani Tomas follows a 2-run double. 10 men have come to the plate in this inning. 6 have scored. Another slider missed. Brandon's ahead 3-0. He has singled, walked, and doubled tonight.
The D-backs in the first 7 innings of this ball game were 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 3 for 4 in this inning.
Bullpen will have to get cranked up again for Dave Roberts. Josh Fields, the right-hander. There's the strike, and it's 3-1. Fernando Rodney had been warming up in the D-back bullpen, but now it's a 5-run lead, so Andrew Chafin has started throwing down there. Chafin pitched an inning in the ball game last night at Petco Park. 3-1 is fouled back. It's a full count, 3-2. Paul Goldschmidt. A double in the 7th that rolled all the way to the wall in center and got stuck out there. And a huge 2-run single in the 8th. Rodney has sat down now, just Chafin in the pen. Ball 4. The 5th walk in this inning issued by Dodger pitching. Only 1 was intentional, and here comes Roberts. He'll want Fields. That'll be it for Romo. D-backs have a 10-5 lead. Back after this. Six runs, and the bases are still full. Just 1 out. And they batted around here in the 8th inning. And the latest Dodger pitcher, their 6th one tonight, is the right-hander Josh Fields, just called up from AAA Oklahoma City this week. His 2nd stint with the big league club. And his 6th appearance this year.
And you really have to love the approach by the Diamondbacks against Sergio Romo, guy that's been really tough on the Diamondbacks offense in his career, but they refused to chase pitches out of the zone tonight. He walked 3 guys, gave up a couple of knocks. Great approach against him.
This 8th inning has included 5 walks issued by Dodger pitchers, plus a bases loaded balk. And Peralta bats for the 2nd time in the inning. He singled and scored his last time up. David has reached base safely 3 times tonight, 2 singles and a walk. There's a strike, and it's 0-1. Diamondbacks with runners in scoring position. Wednesday in San Diego, they were 0 for 3. Last night, just 1 for 9. The first 7 innings tonight, just 2 for 9. They had tons of chances. That adds up to 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position. But in this inning, they've gone 3 for 4 with runners in scoring position. Jake Lamb at third. Yasmani Tomas after that big 2-run double at second. And Brandon Drury at first. Brandon's been on base twice in this inning. 1-1 on David Peralta. Really good crowd here tonight. Roof is open, panels closed, very comfortable, gorgeous Friday night in downtown Phoenix, and these D-backs fans have watched a very, very entertaining ball game that's gone back and forth all night long. Now a very one-sided 8th inning. D-backs have scored 6.
I saw David immediately shaking his head after he fouled off that 95-mile-an-hour fastball above the top of the strike zone. I think as he was swinging, he realized he was chasing a bad pitch.
Well, still got a piece. It's 1-2. David singled in the second, walked in the 6th, singled and scored in this inning. Batting for the 2nd time in the 8th. First of 3 against the Dodgers. Robbie Ray on the mound tomorrow night. Kenta Maeda for LA. And then Sunday afternoon it's Shelby Miller and Brandon McCarthy. Andrew Chafin ready in the D-backs bullpen. He'll get the 9th. Peralta can't check that time, and he strikes out. Just the 2nd out of the inning, and now that'll bring up Chris Iannetta. Chris walked earlier in this inning when he hit for the catcher Mathis. He'll have to put the gear on and catch Chafin in the top of the 9th. Dodgers will have Utley the pitcher spot and Peterson 8-9-1. Fastballs in there at 97 for a strike, and it's 0-1. Josh Fields did not have a good spring training. His ERA this spring in 9 appearances was almost 10. So he finished up the year in minor league camp. Yes, he went. Marty Foster down there, and Iannetta's down 0-2.
Last 2 fastballs at 97 and 98. Fields pitching with a little anger out there right now.
Yeah. He went to the minors but did not appear in a game for Oklahoma City. Iannetta, the 12th man to bat here in the Arizona 8th. Bases loaded walk by Descalso, then a bases loaded balk, then a 2-run single by Goldie and a 2-run double by Tomas.
Just a steady diet of 4-seam fastballs in the upper 90s so far in this at bat to Chris Iannetta. One more.
The way Chris has been swinging the bat lately, he'll take him deep for a grand slam. He's hit the ball hard lately. Rolls it up the middle, a base base hit. Lamb scores. Tomas right behind. And the Diamondbacks have a 12-5 lead. Iannetta now with a 6-game hitting streak.
That's just good hitting. A steady diet of those high 90s fastballs. He finally gets a breaking ball, tracks it all the way down to the bottom of the zone, and with a lot of hands right at the end of his swing, bangs it up the middle of the field to drive home a couple more.
It's turned into an 8-run 8th inning for the Diamondbacks. Their most runs this season, they lead at 12-5. Descalso walked with the bases loaded earlier in this inning, the 13th man to bat in the Diamondback 8th.
Dodgers bullpen over their last 8 ball games had pitched a total of 27 innings and surrendered only 3 runs. They've given up 8 here in the 8th inning.
Let's just keep it going. Diamondbacks started off this inning down 5-4. They now lead at 12-5.
You really have to like it when you've got 2 pinch hitters in an inning and they each get 2 at bats.
How are we looking? That fastball fouled straight back, and it's 1-2. Two-run single by Goldie, 2-run double by Tomas, 2-run single by Iannetta. Throwing a bases loaded walk and a bases loaded balk. And the D-backs have put up an 8 spot. Fastball missed up 2-2.
Told the story in the past. I'll tell it very quickly. Dwayne Kuiper, our old buddy, doing the games for the Giants when he was playing for the Giants, pinch hit for the pitcher spot, got on base, had an inning like this, came up a second time, and went to the official scorekeeper after the game and insisted he should get the win. Because the first time he was a pinch hitter, the second at bat was in the pitcher spot, so he said, I'm the pitcher of record.
It's a pretty clever approach.
Smoothie's always looking for an angle.
Sure is. Yeah, that's why I never trust him with restaurant reviews. Oh, you gotta go to this place. It's the best.
It's the best.
I'm not falling for that. I'm not going near that place.
The Botulism Diner. You'll love it. It's great.
Order the special. Full count, 3-2. AJ on deck. Like to get him up there at least one more time. Try and get that triple and finish with a cycle. That'd be a good way to finish off this inning. Brandon Drury at second. Chris Iannetta at first. They'll be off of the pitch. 3-2, 2 outs. There go the runners.
I mentioned that Sergio Romo had been tough on the Diamondbacks throughout his career, regardless of who he's pitching for, whom he's pitching for. In 31 2/3 innings here at Chase Field, he had given up 2 runs before tonight. Wow. In a third of an inning, he's given up 4 already. Responsible for Brandon Drury out there at second base.
Descalso drives one right field. Puig won't get there. It's off the wall. Drury will score. Iannetta stops at third. And the inning continues. An RBI double makes it 13-5.
You just love the at-bats that Daniel Descalso has given the team already this year. He's not going to get a hit every time up, but he fouls off tough pitchers' pitches. He takes pitches that are out of the strike zone, and if you happen to make a mistake where he can get the barrel on it, he can put a charge on it.
They have sent 14 men to the plate. 9 have scored. Pollock struck out earlier in this inning, so he gets another chance to get that cycle. He's a triple away. It would be the 7th cycle in Diamondback history. Aaron Hill had the last one. Of course, he had 2 in 2012. Luis Gonzalez, Greg Colburn, Stephen Drew, Kelly Johnson, and Aaron Hill twice. D-back cycles. Iannetta's at third. Descalso at second. Two.
AJ had a similar reaction to David Peralta when he swung at that high fastball, kind of grimaced, knew he chased a bad pitch up and out of the zone.
Well, you don't want to be the guy who makes 2 of the 3 outs in this historic inning. AJ struck out against Romo his first time up in the 8th. Other than that, it's been a great night. A homer, first career leadoff homer, a double and a single. Field's going to have to finish this up. The bullpen is stopped for LA.
This bottom half of the 8th inning, over 40 minutes the Diamondbacks have been up there wailing away on Dodgers pitching.
Well, Torey Lovello said the storm is on its way. He believed after those slow nights in San Diego. Coming at you. Whoa! Woo. Just by about 6 inches, headed right for the monitor.
It's a good thing these chairs are on wheels.
Yes, I utilized that feature.
You'd have gone over backwards if there were no wheels on that chair.
Backed up into the set here. That was one of those that the second it's hit, you know it's coming. Called strike 3. AJ strikes out twice in the inning. But the Diamondbacks send 14 men to the plate. 9 of them score. Goldie got one of the big hits, a 2-run single. And as we head to the ninth, the D-backs lead the Dodgers 13-5. D-backs lead the Dodgers 13-5 after a 9-run 8th inning. And Andrew Chafin answers the Ashline call to the bullpen. He's out there to finish this one off. A couple of defensive changes. It's a whole new battery as Chris Iannetta takes over behind the plate, and Daniel Descalso replaces Goldie at first. 9th appearance of the year for Andrew. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Diamondbacks sent 14 men to the plate in that inning and scored 9 runs. They trailed at 5-4. They now lead it 13-5. And Andrew Chafin is on to finish it up. Kike Hernandez will hit for Chase Utley, and Scott Van Slyke is in the on-deck circle. He'll hit for the pitcher Fields.
Leading off for Los Angeles and pitch hitting for Chase Utley.
Kike Hernandez hits for Utley, 250 with a home run. Hernandez homered off Robbie Ray Monday, and the Diamondbacks win at Dodger Stadium. Andrew Chafin pitched the 8th inning. Last night in San Diego, worked a 1-2-3-8 with 2 strikeouts through 14 pitches. Archie Bradley, the beneficiary of one of the biggest innings in D-backs history. Jock Peterson, a rough birthday for Jock Peterson. He turned 25 today.
Is anything rough when you're 25?
Not that I can recall. Seems an awfully long time ago. I wonder if Chase Utley remembers when he was 25. Dodgers with the loss will drop to 8-9 on the year, a game under 500 for the season. This is a rough way for them to open up a 7-game road trip, 3 here in Phoenix, then 4 in San Francisco. Hernandez skies one deep right field. Peralta in front of the wall, and that's the first out in the 9th. And now Van Slyke will hit for the pitcher. Diamondback Live post-game show comes your way. Todd Walsh and Gracie here tonight. Good to have Todd back with us. He will host D-backs Live post-game. Get Gracie's thoughts. It's a good game for Gracie to break down. A lot of offense.
Oh, yeah. Gracie knows a little bit about offense.
Thing or two. 13 runs on 14 hits. Diamondbacks also drew 8 walks in the ball game. 2 of them were intentional. 1 was with the bases loaded. They also had a bases loaded balk that brought in a run. So a good start to this series in homestand for the Diamondbacks, that's for sure. Another big crowd tomorrow, hopefully. Robbie Ray gets the baseball against Kenta Maeda. Don't forget D-backs car sunshade handed out tomorrow, courtesy of Safelite Auto Glass, a really outstanding D-backs car shade to the first 20,000 fans with us tomorrow. There's Robbie Ray. Boy, he pitched a tremendous ball game against these Dodgers on Monday. He was dealing in that game. 6 innings, gave up only 3 hits, had 10 strikeouts, struck out the side in the 5th inning in that game. In fact, at one point struck out 6 consecutive Dodger hitters.
Did give up a solo home run to Kike Hernandez in that ball game, leading off the 4th inning. The other run scored earlier in the ball game. A little sloppy defense by the Diamondbacks in that one.
Got to get Archie's cowlick just right back there. You know, post-game news conference and stuff. Got to look good.
Alfalfa.
Fly ball to center. AJ backing up. He's got room just shy of a warning track. 2 down. So Diamondback Live pregame show comes your way tomorrow at 4:30. First pitch at 5:10. Don't forget, Diamondback Live postgame show follows the ball game.
Number 5, Brett Eibner.
Here's Brett Eibner, just called up for the minor leagues this week.
He has struck out in both his at-bats this year. He'll hit for Peterson. Diamondbacks scored at least 9 runs in an inning 6 times in their history. The last time they did it, 6 runs in the 6th inning. April 25th last year against the St. Louis Cardinals. The 9 runs scored in the 8th inning tonight, the most ever in 1 inning against the Dodgers. 0-2. Diamondbacks will improve to 11-7. The Rockies got a win over the Giants at Coors 6-5, so the D-backs will stay a half game back. And a big win tonight in front of a big crowd here at Chase Field. 0-2 to Brett Eibner. Ground ball to second. Brandon Drury's there, and the Diamondbacks win it 13-5. Now that's the way to start a homestand, especially against these boys in blue.
Absolutely. Feed me. Diamondbacks did that in a big way tonight. And if they've learned anything in the early going this season on that last road trip, they scored 11 against the Padres in the first game of the series. 1 run in the next 2 games. So no carryover value. Come back tomorrow and do it again.
Well, let's put Gracie to work now. He's got a lot to talk about. Standing by with Todd Walsh. Todd.
Steve, thank you very much. Mark, let's just get this out of the way. Have you ever been a part of an inning quite like that?
Not quite like that. That was pretty amazing. What, two pinch hitters hit twice, and they both got big hits in that inning. 9 runs. Holy bats, Batman.
All right, we're going to break it down. Wow. You ready for that?
That's a lot.
You got your notes.
I'm locked in.
You're counting on Bob Brenly to help you out of it. Okay. All right, here we go. When we come back, our coverage of the Diamondbacks continues with Diamondbacks Live after an impressive come from behind win. That's what it was. 13-5. With Bob Brenly's take, Kate Longwood is here on the field. Will begin. David Peralta will be her guest in the clubhouse. Torey Lovello. All of that when we return on this Friday night. Dodgers fall in Game 1 to the Diamondbacks.